from StreamYard. Okay, so we are back. We are back. The
What's going on?
the the nerdy Negroes. Oh, you froze again. Okay,
What about now? Can you see me doing the
now I'm seeing you. Like I
one?
know, like if your recording is not going to be freezing, I'm not so worried. But I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. But okay,
Yeah,
let's
so
see how it
I'm
goes.
on two different computers. So yeah,
Right.
the what you're
Yeah,
seeing via StreamYard is different. So
it's different from what you're recording. Yeah. Yeah.
hey, we can I mean
Okay.
just for measure, I can stop the recording real quick just to verify.
Okay, maybe we should do that. Yeah. Again,
All
once
right.
again, sorry, apologies, people. You're seeing the sausage. Skip me. It's been some distance between now and when you saw everything everywhere all at once, right? So you
Oh
can I
man.
mention sausage now? Is it okay?
I hadn't even thought see, I was just now getting over it, and the fact that you just brought it up
I'm sorry. I'm
kind of
sorry. I'm
ruined
sorry.
things, but it's not good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
So
I'm good on my end.
you're good. You checked your recording.
So I'll go. Yep. So I'll go ahead and start recording again now.
Okay. All
And
right. Me too.
bada bing, bada bang. Perfect.
Boom. Okay. All right. Nerdy Negroes are back. It's time.
Back in
We're
this thing,
doing.
man.
Yes. Yes. Uh. Oh, sorry, Michelle Yeoh and Graham Norton. Sorry, I do love me some Michelle Yeoh. So, yeah. So this week we had did another 10 chapters, and yeah, you ready to just jump into it? No preamble, just
Oh
go.
no, 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 no. You can go. I was just rubbing my hands in anticipation, not
I know,
not to
I
speed things
know.
along.
I'm excited this week because I like this week I was in my mind. I told you I went back and started watching some of your reactions again because I wanted to
Uh-huh.
like refresh in my mind what you know and what you didn't know and what you picked up on and what you didn't pick up on. And while I was reading this week, I kept just like in my mind thinking, what is Addison going to notice? What is Addison going to notice? So I'm
Yeah,
excited because there's a
yeah.
couple of things in these chapters that I was like, oh, this is going to be a hook for him. He's going to love this.
Mm.
So I'm excited to know your thoughts here. So I guess
Oh, for
yeah,
sure, for sure.
we can't just jump into it though. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, so I will say, this week's reading was, dang, I don't want to put it above the other ones. It might be up there. Like we've had 3 weeks so far, so I might have to
Mm.
go week week three, week one, week two, as far as my order of favorite readings.
Yeah, yeah.
If there's a measurement for that. But this one is a little bit different because normally I'll have it like it's fresh on my mind on a Tuesday night, and today we're
Yeah.
recording on Thursday. So man, if I flunk out of today's quiz, man, I still love my people who came. You know how you prep for a quiz and then the teacher's like,
Yeah,
"Hey guys, we're gonna postpone. We're gonna watch a movie today." It's like, man, I
yeah.
just stayed up till midnight studying.
I do understand. Now you do if you fail the quiz, there's going to be cut. No, I'm talking. I don't even know
Oh,
what consequences I could give you from Korea. Somehow, just giving you consequences across the Pacific. A nice kimchi slap. So, anyway, all right. Well, I guess yeah. Let us just jump into it. The first chapter is chapter 21 called Listen to the Wind. And I will show you the icon. Let me come back to the live stream. The icon
perfect.
is Moraine's staff here. And the summary I wrote here Nynaeve wakes up by the river and tracks Lan and Moraine to their campsite where she listens in as they talk. Lan wonders how so many Trollocs made it down from the borderlands without being seen. Moraine senses Nynaeve, much to the surprise of Lan. Moraine explains to Nynaeve that she could sense her because she can channel, which Nynaeve denies, but Moraine gives proof after proof, first describing
Hmm.
how she suddenly knew that Nynaeve was the wisdom, then describing what must have been Nynaeve's first channeling incident, and saying that Nynaeve must have healed either Egwene or Perrin. Nynaeve reluctantly admits that it's true. Moraine explains that 3 out of 4 women who start channeling without training die and describes the symptoms of channeling sickness. Then Nynaeve demands to know Moraine's plans for finding the kids. Moraine explains about the coin she gave, and Nynaeve realizes that the plans necessitate leaving some of the children to fend for themselves. And they head south.
Okay.
So, yes,
Okay.
thoughts on this one?
Yeah, thoughts on this chapter is I feel like the series did a really good job of showing how Nynaeve was very cautious and not trusting necessarily of Moraine. And
Mm,
now, as we read, getting to see her inner dialogue as she
yeah,
interacts with Moraine, it
yeah,
further enforces the fact that it pretty much shows what we thought she felt while watching the series, coming
yeah,
from
yeah.
from a TV series. So, the fact about the telling, just how blunt Moraine is with Nynaeve about
Mm.
the importance of making sure that women kind of stick together who have the power or are taught or mentored through it, as opposed to just having to deal with it on their own, was some pretty interesting information for that.
Yeah, Moraine doesn't really give any preamble. She's just like, "Hi, Nynaeve, you can channel." And I,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Cut to the
it's just,
chase.
yeah, no,
Forget the icebreakers.
exactly, exactly. This is, I see Rapunzel in chat saying she loves this chapter. I love this chapter. This chapter is
Hmm.
like, it's, it's, I mean, because it's my favorite character. It's like our first insight into her mind and her thinking. And
Hmm.
it's one of the things RJ is really good at, I think, in my opinion, is the whole, he gives a limited perspective, like it's called third person limited, where you're in Nani's perspective. So you hear her, like her angry thoughts, but he somehow lets us see a little bit outside as well, so you can see her insecurities in this as well. Like when she
Hmm.
describes Moraine the first time she sees her description of Moraine is she was wearing the most beautiful, like more beautiful than any dress I'd ever
Yeah,
seen. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
feel Nani being like, man, this woman, why does she,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's funny you said RJ, and
Hmm.
like I'm new to the book thing, so I'm thinking Richard Jefferson, who's a basketball player, but so I have to go Robert Jordan. So when you said it, Richard Jefferson's bald head popped in my head, but Robert Jordan, got it. We're clear on that now.
Yeah. Sorry. I am not a sports person, so go sports. I'm assuming that's some sort of ball related thing.
Yeah.
Basketball,
He's a
football, baseball, I
basketball
don't know.
player and now, a sports analyst. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Go sports. Anyway. So
um.
I did want to discuss a little bit the
Mhm.
channeling sickness as not a quiz question. So if you, I don't know if you have notes on this, but do you remember any of the symptoms of the channeling sickness?
Wasn't it a fever, and wasn't it also something that would like come, but it would go away rather quickly?
Yes,
Um.
there's, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the way she describes it, she says, your first reaction to touching this to the source, usually like a week or 10 days later. I
Hmm.
copied it here. So it says fever, chills, they come and go in a few hours. And there's also like headaches and numbness,
Yeah.
exhilaration, you're taking foolish chances, you're acting giddy.
Hmm.
And then it goes, and then it gets closer and closer to the time of channeling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that
So
is
that
the
was
chat.
that was
Go.
interesting. That
Mhm.
was interesting for sure, especially because I feel like although Nani was reluctant to it, she had um no what do you call it? She had to trust Moraine in that sense because it was such a fact, and she knew exactly, even without telling Moraine, that this is something I went through, and she's still on that scale of I'm really in this to try to make sure I can get Matt Rand, Perrin, and Egwene back to
Yeah,
Two
yeah,
Rivers.
yeah,
But all this other information, it was interesting. Yeah, so
yeah. I see Sean today in chat. That's just being a teenager. Yeah, teenagers dizzy, giddy, taking stupid risks. If
getting up
that's
in
the
an
sign of,
hour.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. Um, but okay, okay. Anything else in this chapter? I mean, I'm also kind of hyped on the Nynaeve was able to track Lan again,
Mhm.
like, and he does.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Anything else jump out at you on this one?
It's also just the fact that I believe it's also this chapter too. Is this when she discussed the fact that she was with was it Egwene? She healed somebody who was super sick as
Mm,
well. Um,
yeah.
and the interesting part about that is this though, because remember Moraine said Egwene was somebody who's going to be mentored as well.
Mm.
So I was wondering in that chapter, were they associating the fact that Nynaeve had the power and she was able to heal Egwene, or if Egwene was just going through the same phase and she got over it quickly too? So that was one of
Ah,
the, you get what I'm saying? Because it's like, could it have been one or the other, or is it fully attributed to Nynaeve healing her because she was getting
right,
familiar with her
right.
power? So that's what I was curious about that chapter.
Okay. Well, I can answer that for you if you want.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah, it was Nynaeve. Nynaeve healed her. Because you can't heal yourself. That's something they say in the show. And this was
That's
fair,
right.
like
Okay.
Egwene was quite young at this point. And the other reason that we know for sure it was Nynaeve healing her is that's the way that Moraine says that Nynaeve was able to track Egwene. Like she's able to track,
Got you.
but
That's
when
right. That's right.
once she
You can
gets
track people that
close,
you've healed.
yeah, once you get close to somebody that's channeled, you can, or that you've healed, yeah, you can sense their presence. So
Makes sense.
yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
That's another thing. I love that about Nynaeve because Moraine says usually your first channeling is something that you really desperately want in that moment, and it's
Mm.
usually like I really want this animal to come to me, whatever. Nynaeve,
Yeah.
the thing that she wanted the most was to heal somebody that she loved. Like it's just such a selfless goal. Like she wasn't doing it to save her life or anything that she desperately wanted. It was this child I love, I want to heal.
Mm.
And I love
So
that that's a revelation about who she is.
so in hindsight, what you're telling me is not to beat a dead horse, but she didn't really want to heal Rand's dad, huh? Is that what you're telling me? She didn't really want to heal Dan.
Well,
I'm still feeling some
I
type of
guess
way about
you
that.
are
She
still
didn't really
feeling
want to
some
heal
kind of.
him.
Well, I'm making me come to the defense of fictional characters. She doesn't know that she can
I
do
got
this. Like she's
I
not
gotta
doing it
stand
on
up for the
purpose.
ferrymen and for the unhealed people, man. That's what I gotta stand up for. But
She
no,
doesn't.
Naive.
She doesn't know that she's doing this, right? At this point, she doesn't know what she's doing. So
Yeah, she only knows what she wants, right?
she only knows what she wants. Yes, but that's horrible. No, she would have wanted it. She would. Damn it! Help me in the comments. Help me. Help me. Help me.
Justice for Tam. There we go, David. Justice for Tam.
Oh man. See him putting holes in my love. This is a shame. All right. So anything else from this chapter before we go on to the next?
No, I'm ready to go. This was also the chapter 2 where they had to decide that they were going after Rand and Matt or
Yeah.
Gwen and Perrin too. So that was this one. Was a little bit interesting too because in my head I was thinking, well, why don't y'all split? Why don't we kill two birds? Since there's a group, why don't we make the decision for some of us to go this way, some of us to go the other? Especially Rain gave the whole spiel about if Egwene isn't mentored through her thing, she could die. So it's like, okay, well, shouldn't one of us go out to go get her at least to see her do it? But
yeah. I never even thought about that. Just generally, I mean, I'm just, D&D, you don't split the party. Splitting the party is always dangerous.
For sure. For sure.
But you do have like someone like Nynaeve who can track, and Moraine can follow whichever one of them still has their coin. So you could do that. But
that's what
I
was
never
thinking.
thought about that. I never thought about that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's a whole other thing. You're right. You're right. Again, you plucking holes in your plot. It's the other thing I did want to note. Did you notice? Because a lot of people don't notice this because they just hear Nynaeve's thoughts. And this again, just as Robert Jordan's so good at this. Did you notice that Nynaeve was crying during this scene?
Actually, no. I think one of the major things I noticed in this scene is that we are going to see other people's views outside of Rand's moving forward.
Yeah.
That was one of the because we did briefly we discussed this in the last time we recorded, but we did briefly see Perrin's a little bit last time, and then this time, and then we'll talk about this a little bit moving forward. But we actually got to see her. But I did not notice that. No, hold on. No, there was one instance I think I did notice she was crying, but I didn't know it was throughout the entire course of it.
Well, I don't know if it's
through a few tears here or there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's through the entire scene, but I know that a lot of people read this scene and they're just like, my gosh, Nynaeve's so angry. And then you get to the end of this scene and she's crying. Like that's Jordan's so good at that. It's just, you see her, the way she's trying to think of herself. And then you just get this little glimpse outside is like, no, man, she's hurt. Like she's hurt.
Yeah.
She has to leave some of her kids behind. Moraine has just exposed something about her that she hates. Like this whole situation is just poking Nynaeve's wounds. Like it's just poke. This hurts. Okay, I'm gonna poke it again. This hurts. Okay, I'm gonna poke it again. Like it's just
And it's funny you say kids because it's almost like her approach and her love and her guidance of them is that like a mother, or a stepmother, whatever the case may be. It's something of that nature. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it's just gonna say Rapunzel here saying always pay attention to what Nynaeve is doing. The little lines, they give huge insight because the way she thinks of herself and the way other people like see her is it's interesting. Anyway,
Mhm.
okay, so let's go on to the next chapter. It's a very very short summary. uh, so
Okay.
it's wait. Sorry, I
Uh-oh.
remembered. I just remembered I had
Bring it
something
back.
else. No, yeah,
Okay.
pulling back just a little bit. Um, um, I have too many windows open on my computer. Rapunzel reminded me. There's this man on Twitter, Todd Shoemaker,
Okay.
who is I think it's at Todd Draws is his handle or whatever. But he has been drawing little drawings from every chapter of the books. I think he's like partially through book 3 now. But I wanted to show you
Every
his drawing.
chapter?
Yep,
Okay. This
every chapter. So
brother's
I
been
thought I
putting
would.
in work.
Mhm. They're adorable little pictures. So
Mhm.
this is the chapter, the drawing that he did from this chapter. We got Lan, Moraine, and I
Oh,
just
I'm glad you showed me this picture because I want to bring
yeah,
something up now.
yeah.
First of all, shout out to Todd. Great work, by the way. This looks really
Mhm.
good. It almost looks like the character is going to come to life, and I'm going to see him like, they got that goes to the type of voice,
Yes,
like one of
that's
those voices. But
yeah.
excellent drawing. This scene right here reminded me. It made me go back to the scene. Rand was sneaking on Moraine and Egwene, and
Mm,
then when I saw this dialogue, I was like, I know Moraine knew that Rand was watching. As easily as she spotted out Nynaeve from
mm.
the forest, and as it made me think that when Rand was sneaking and watching Moraine and Egwene's little Aes Sedai mentor
Training.
session,
Yeah.
training session, that she knew that Rand was there. She just didn't choose to
To
say it in that
acknowledge it.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh,
dope
okay.
work though. I really like that drawing.
Yeah. He's really, really good. He's really good. So okay. Next chapter is called A Path Chosen, and the icon is the leafless tree. So I'll just show you. You've seen this one before though. But okay, summary is really, really short because not much happens in this chapter. It's just Perrin makes his way along the river until he spots Bella's hoof print, and then he finds Egwene. Perrin tells her of his idea that they should head to Camelin instead of Whitebridge because that's where the Fade will be looking for them, and Egwene agrees. And just because I've
Mhm.
got it up already, I will show you Todd's drawing, which is Egwene with the
Mm.
big stick, and that's Bella behind her in her little fire. So, yeah,
This is dope. Every chapter, man, that guy's
every
putting in some
chapter.
work.
He really is. He really is. So, okay, how about this chapter?
Um, this is what I was saying. This is one of those you didn't really let me know last time we recorded. I figured they were gonna be paired up though, because I know
Yeah.
they were in the show.
Hmm.
So when we got to seeing them together, I was like, okay, of course, I figured that was gonna happen.
Hmm.
There's some things moving forward, I'm not gonna spoil anything as far as our discussion base. That's like, wow, okay, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
far as them coming together and parent, no pun intended, pairing together, not pairing together, it didn't surprise me, but
Hmm.
it just makes me wonder about their relationship moving forward.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, I think they actually, and I thought about this as I was reading them kind of speak through things and talk through things and just see the dynamic, the dynamic of their relationship. I actually think out of all the four friends, they were the best people to go on this little journey together, because I
Hmm.
think had Rand and her got
Oh Lord.
bundled together, they probably would have killed each other before they made it to Tar Valon. So
Probably.
in a sense, it was like, I think it is a good little break from Rand and Egwene for
Mhm.
this section. But whether this is an option, a segue for Perrin to slide in them DMs, I don't know. Yet to be determined. But but as for now, yeah, it was a good pair.
Yeah, her and Rand definitely needed a break. What I noticed this time around, I might have noticed this before, I don't know, but just like when Perrin realizes that it's Bella, like he sees the hoof print and he's a
Mm-hmm.
blacksmith. He made that horseshoe. He knows who it is,
Yeah.
right? He feels safe. So he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to run in and get." Egwene doesn't know it's Perrin. So that's why she's got that big stick. It's funny. It just cracked me up suddenly this time around, like that's hilarious. He's like, "Oh, I'm safe," and she's like, "Oh, a Trollocs coming," and it's
Yeah,
you know, yeah,
That
it just made me
that was
laugh.
a funny dynamic.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the like in this chapter? We see Perrin sort of taking a leadership role. Like he's the one coming up with the idea.
Yeah, it was almost like you see him wanting to be a leader, but not knowing if he's doing the right thing. Because I forget if it's in this chapter or other chapter. He's always saying, "Well, what would Rand do this?" Or you know what I'm saying? He's always
Mm,
going back to what Rand would do in regards to dealing with Egwene or in situations like this. Or sometimes he even surprises himself when Egwene listens to some of the things that he says.
yep.
So it's interesting seeing him in this leadership role because he is one of the bigger guys in the group, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
it's I'm not gonna say he's a big softy, but you know, he has an interesting, a more humble approach to things.
Very much
Almost
so.
like one of the guys that I could see. He's like one of the guys you could see yourselves being friends with.
Yeah, yeah. He reminds me of a guy when I was like when I in Korea, I took a year off to, well, not a year off. I was in school studying Korean, and there's a guy in our program who I think must have been a bodybuilder from I think
Okay.
Croatia. I don't know. He was this enormous guy. Like when he would come into a room, he would sort of block the light from the door. That's how like he was just thick. Like he was just a thick gentleman,
Yeah.
and but he was this like when he would talk, you'd be like, "Oh, how was your day?" It was all right. And
Yeah.
just
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
real soft spoken, real gentle. Like
Hmm.
everything he did, he would like hand you something with two fingers. Like, oh, you're not gonna hurt me. Like you're not gonna hurt me.
He's scared of his own strength, huh?
That's what. That's yeah. That's what Perrin kind
He
of reminds me of.
he didn't have yellow eyes, did he?
No, 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 no,
Okay. Okay.
no.
Cool. All right. We're good.
It
We're
is.
good.
Yeah, yeah. He did not. So, all right. Okay. Well, then I guess let's go on to the next chapter because again, that was a pretty short one. But this next one, I think you're gonna like.
one
So,
one thing
oh,
before you go into this chapter.
mm,
I always get nervous when I start to see um books switch character perspectives.
yeah, you mentioned that.
And the
Yeah.
reason I say that is I feel like our main characters are gonna get Anakined sometimes. I'll just put it like that. Or um
Mm,
and it hurts because I remember first watching Star Wars and I love Anakin. It's like, man, why did they do him like that? Man, you know, why did he have to have his story arc? And it's
mm.
one of those things that it just lets you know. And then Walking Dead has kind of tainted me for my will. You know, I'll just say that
Yeah,
for my will.
yeah.
It's like, man, you can't get too attached to certain characters because if the writer wants to do whatever with them and you kind of fell in love with them, then it is what it is. So in a sense, it almost feels like, okay, this is Rand's story.
Mm.
But then when you start to see other people's perspectives on things, it's like he could probably get written out or written to be the bad guy or whatever case may be. It's one of those
Mm.
things that I'm always kind of curious or skeptical about.
Yeah, he could get Randigined, as you say.
Hold on. I don't like that. I don't like that, man.
You know, like
Why we
that?
can't say Matakind or Parakind? Why we have to just go straight for Rand? Come on now, Jenny. You
I'm
wrong for
just
that.
saying, it rhymes. It rhymes. It's just for
Oh,
the
that's
rhyme.
even worse. His name is the only one who matches with that too. Oh,
Yeah.
it's bad now.
Yes. Anyway. All right. So you ready to go on to the next chapter? Now
I
that I've
am.
hurt
I
your
am.
now that I've hurt your feelings. So,
I am.
all right. Okay. So the next chapter is one I think you probably liked a lot. It's called Wolf Brother. The icon is one you have not seen before. It is the wolf.
Okay.
So yeah, and the chapter summary: Perrin and Egwene head in what they hope is the direction of Camelin. When camping, Egwene reveals that she has been practicing lighting fires with the One Power, and Perrin asks her not to do that anymore. She refuses. They smell a cook fire and find a man with golden eyes named Elias, who informs them that they are very, very much not on their way to Camelin. They are joined at the campfire by some wolves that Elias calls friends. He explains that he can communicate somehow with the wolves, and it's not something that can be taught. You either can or you can't, and the wolves say that Perrin can do it.
Mm-hmm.
He asks Egwene and Perrin why they're here, and they tell him a story that they made up, but the wolves know that it's a lie. They can
Yeah.
smell the Trollocs in Perrin's mind, so Perrin tells them the truth. Elias is not very fond of Aes Sedai, because there are Aes Sedai in their story, since some of them once tried to gentle him, even though he can't channel. And then he
Mm-hmm.
offers to travel with Perrin and Egwene. And again, because I have this up, I will show you the Todd's drawing from here. Sorry, I didn't look at this one closely.
Look at
Sorry, it's
Todd, man.
adorable. Yeah, their mouths
I
over
like it.
there. They're hungry. They're hungry. So, all right.
So many thoughts about this chapter.
Hmm.
This was one of those I told you so just for me, but it
I
was
know.
also another glimpse into parent too, because with him becoming a leader, y'all are out in the forest. One of my first impressions of like, why are you just walking up and willingly accepting the food that this guy has? And you also have to make sure that you take care of Egwene as well. It seems like he's a very, along with his humble and more so like laid back, chill personality, there's a little bit of naiveness in it as well, which actually
Yeah.
it'll come forward too in the conversation that they have around the campfire. But those are some of my first impressions. It's just like when I put myself in that situation, not that I would have got far given, you know, what the Wolf brothers had in store all around the camp, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep going. You can enjoy that rabbit by yourself, my brother.
They were very hungry, though. I mean, been a couple
I
days
understand.
that they hadn't eaten, but yeah, yeah. Sorry, Rapunzel. Free forest food. What could go wrong?
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I've seen too many movies to where that's not. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
gonna pass on by. The company of two is, but company
yeah,
of three sometimes are a little crowded, unless it's a dog. If it's a
yeah.
dog involved, then
Mm,
company threes are pretty decent.
it works. Yeah,
David
yeah.
Ness, hungry like a wolf. Yeah,
Mm,
that is true.
that is true.
Um, but yeah, this was the I told you so chapter. This is the I told
Mm,
you so chapter. I'm just wanting to know how far it will go.
mm,
Um, because one, Elias was such a welcoming guy. I'll say kind of baited them to come over there, maybe. But it's like, how
mm.
coincidental is this? You know what I'm saying? How does
Yeah,
Perrin end up meeting this wolf pack? Was it coincidental, or was Elias kind of somewhat tracking them from a, a far off? I don't know, but it was
yeah.
cool seeing this.
Well, I think he does say that he'd been following them for a few days. I have a suspicion. This is just my, because Perrin finds food that first night fairly easily. Like these kids, I
Hmm.
would be dead. Like they have flints in their pockets, they've got slings. Like I
Yeah,
would have died.
yeah.
I would have died. But Perrin gets food that first night, and then after that, they can't find any food. Like that's why they're so hungry when Elias shows up.
Hmm.
I think Elias was just like all the rabbits were gone because Elias was eating them.
Elias was rounding them up, so they had to
Yeah,
go to him. He was
yeah.
okay. I see what he was doing.
That's my
He was
guess.
taking over
Because
all the resources, so they had to
yeah,
maneuver into him.
yeah, that's my guess. Because yeah, parent they were so competent that first night. They were all like, "I got
Hmm.
food, I got fire, I'm good, I'm good." So I don't know.
Yeah, and even with their interaction with him, it's fun. It's interesting how it goes from friendly to all right, cut out all the lies, or things can get serious.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's funny how quick that switch is from rabbit to you can become what's next on the menu if we don't get
Mm,
things squared away.
mm,
Even the wolf's introduction coming in, I think the only seeming introduction we had with Perrin or something similar was when the wolf, I forget if it was a dream or if it was real, he came up and like licked one of Perrin's wounds. That
in
was
the
it
yeah, in
in
the
the show
show.
when we
Yeah,
in regards to the series. That was it. It was I was caught guarded a bit because Egwene and Perrin's interactions were with the Tinkers or whatever, whatever their name was. So
mm,
the whole time when I was watching the series, in the back of my head, and I somewhat watching the show, I was like, are these people like animorphs? Do they transform into wolves when they want to become people? So this
yeah.
whole interaction, I was wondering, is this the people, but in the book they were shown as wolves, but in the show they showed them as people? So I was curious. That's actually what I was thinking for the
Mm,
longest until we get a little bit further on in the reading.
yeah. Now, I guess now is as good a time to talk about this as any because I wanted to
Mhm,
ask you what you thought about it because the book is very, very clear with what's going on with Perrin, whereas the show it's very ambiguous. Now I have my
mhm.
theories on why that is, and actually watching your reactions made me think I was right. But why do you think they changed that?
It, g- I well,
What do you think about the show?
I think because they still want you to kind of be unsure about who the dragon is
Yeah,
amongst the guys. So if
yeah,
they
yeah.
clearly define him as the wolf, or they clearly define so and so as this, you will immediately X them out as being the dragon because you already think they have a different storyline going. So that's one of my small thoughts in regards to that.
Yeah.
Um, but
That's
yeah,
like
why do you think so?
Well, again, I thought so too. And then watching your reactions, which again, I rewatched a lot of them this past week, but you said that towards the end of the series. Like I think by episode 7, you were like, well, it's not Perrin because he's got something going on with the wolves.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I think they were trying to hide it as much as possible, but they can't without like completely changing the story. So I think they were trying to hide it as much as possible to keep Perrin in the mix for as long as possible.
And if I have any, and for competitive merit, if I'll say so. Y'all hear this first in the podcast. I didn't think he was Perrin from the jump. I just didn't want to be wrong in front of the guys and X him out too soon. You know what I'm saying? But but between me and you and the listeners here, I never really thought it was Perrin. I thought he had something to do with animals. I was waiting to see him halfway turn into a wolf anyway. But I didn't want it to happen like at the end of the season. It's like, oh, Perrin's a dragon, and I'm sitting here just like, oh. X him out, and Dre and Brandon be sitting over there grinning at me. It's like, yeah, nigga, you was wrong.
yeah. So, okay. Yeah, what do you think about that? Because as you're reading the book, you're seeing we do get a lot of Perrin insight in the book. And because of the fact that they were hiding this, we don't get to know Perrin as well in the show, which a lot of people like that's, I'm sure you've heard there are some people who don't like the show. That's one of the complaints that people have is Perrin kind of got shoved to the side.
Yeah, he's like the third wheel a little bit.
Yeah.
Personally, even from episode 1, I really liked Perrin. And it was because of the traumatic event that we seen him go through with his wife in there. So it always had me rooting for him in the series, if anything, just to like redeem himself from that situation. Because it's like, I know he didn't have any ill intent in regards to it and things were so sporadic. It'll be different if he like just willingly did something mean and foolish. And it was like, okay, brother, well, we'll see what happens to you. But this is like, man, I'm really rooting for this guy. And in the book, it actually makes me become even more of a fan of his character because he's like so honest. Like even see his internal dialogue of not necessarily trying to be too machismo, but wanting to make sure he's the man that Egwene needs in this moment as they journey along is admirable, I would say. But going into the interaction with Elias, you even see him still trying to play team ball with Egwene as far as not telling the true story about where things go. And he tried to do that, but when things flipped the switch, he was the first one to go ahead and kind of spill the beans.
Yeah. So, did you think that was the right choice? I mean, I guess we know what happens.
Yeah. I mean, once the wolves come out the forest, and then clearly this guy is the ringleader. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's about to be story time for me. Let's sit down beside this campfire. Anything you want to know? You want to know my social security number, debit card number, all of that. We can get it all handled right now.
Exactly. What did you think? Like you've seen a bit more with Elias. Did you trust him right away, or were you suspicious? What did you think?
No. So I trust Elias to do his best for the wolf pack. I'll just put it like that. And I can also trust him to do what he thinks will be best for Perrin, since again the chapter's titled Wolf Brother or things of that nature, and making sure he gets into that fold. I do not trust him in regards to Egwene because the story he told was he said he even had to kill a few warders. And the Aes Sedai didn't like that. And Egwene didn't really say that, and I don't even really know if he knows it yet, but that's seemingly what her pathway is. And I know in her mind whether she did or did not say something, she's like, you know what I'm saying? Hit one of them cartoon goats.
Exactly. Yeah, yes, he did kill warders, but he does say that I said they were trying to gentle him, which wouldn't have worked because he can't channel. But like as you said, that is what was the word you kept using? Like, emasculating. Like that's a pretty brutal thing that they were trying to do to him, and just because they didn't understand.
From knowing from the show, once you kill a warder, like that's a lifelong beef. Or if you kill an Aes Sedai, that's a lot. That's a tough one because they are never going to forget that type of bond that they have, whether it ends up killing them or whether their life mission is to go and get revenge on whoever did it. So it's like being around this brother is a dangerous situation. So once he told that story in the Normal Reign, it was like, I don't know if these two should ever be around each other, or he definitely shouldn't be around any red Aes Sedai for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just noting, I put this here in my notes because I love this little insight into to
Mhm.
Egwene's character. So in the first section, the minute Egwene realizes that Aes Sedai don't braid their hair, she unbraids her hair. Here, Elias is like, I talk to wolves, and one of Egwene's first questions, can I learn how to do it? Can I learn how to do
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Like she can't, but there's also something happens in a future chapter, like, Gwen just wants to learn everything. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah,
everything
yeah.
she
For
wants, she
sure.
can learn. She is a
For sure.
sponge. And we
No,
see it like
for sure.
early
She
on.
she is a sponge. She is
Yeah.
a sponge. She like you can tell like Two Rivers was too small for her. No
Hmm.
disrespect to the Emmons Field folks out there. I know they're probably some good, decent folks out there
Yeah, yeah.
raising cows and making sure their kids grow up and know how to take the hay to the barn. No disrespect to the good folks there, but
Yeah,
Emmons
yeah.
Field was too small for her. Two Rivers was too small for her. She wanted to see the world and she wants to learn. And I actually think it's exciting to her just knowing that her story does not end there, and she's fully embracing that.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on this chapter before we go on to the next one?
Um, I do want to stop real quick the recording and start it back because
I was
we're
about to
around
say it. I was about to say it. I was real proud of myself.
I'm stopping now
Stop.
and
Start.
starting it back now.
Mm,
Yeah, from overall, it was one of those things where, man, I know there's only so much the show can show,
mm.
but it would be cool even if we got to see Elias just like tracking them through the forest, but you don't see who the guy is. You just see like who
Yeah.
is this guy who's looking at him or following. Even if you don't fully show us the wolves, it would have been interesting just to see that.
Would have been nice to see. Yeah, that was one of the, like, again, I think it was because they were hiding this, but yeah, Elias is a character that would have been nice to see. Would have been nice to
Mm-hmm.
see. So, okay, so then I guess I will go on to the next chapter. The next chapter is called "The Flight Down the Arenal," and the why do I have to?
We
Okay,
also, real quick, can we get Hugh Jackman to be casted as Elias? It's my vote.
this your vote. This your vote. All right. Uh, that's actually a really interesting casting call. I like that. That's yeah.
He's already Wolverine. He has that grit to him. I want to see
Mm,
him.
he absolutely does. Okay, so the icon for the next chapter is the harp, which like this is obviously this is the Tom icon. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and my summary. I have way too many folders open on my computer right now. The summary. Rand has another super confusing dream. This one with mirrors and fire eyes. Balsamon. In the dream,
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
yeah. In the dream, Rand pricks his finger on a thorn, and Balsamon tells him again that the eye of the world won't serve him. There's a bunch of other stuff, and he wakes up, and his finger is
Mm-hmm.
bleeding from the thorn in the dream.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the ship, and Gelb, who's the guy that he landed on before, is trying to make trouble, but
Brother Gab.
everyone is mad at Gelb, so for now it's okay. Tom is entertaining the crew and teaching Rand and Matt some skills. Rand watches the shore pass and notes some strange sights. The captain and him and Matt joins at some point, talk about some of the sights they see, and the captain gets all poetic about traveling and seeing strange sights around the world. A few days later, finds Rand seated on the mast of the ship and acting foolish, and Tom comes to get him down. Rand descends with a flourish that makes everyone believe that he was practicing to be a gleeman. And as he's
Yep.
coming down, Rand finally sees Matt's dagger. And Matt explains how he got it. And then Rand asks him if he's had strange dreams, and Matt reveals that he has. Tom comes over and says that he managed to calm everyone down. And Rand looks up at the mast of the ship and is shocked to see that he was up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Todd's drawing from this chapter is this here. So this would be them looking at some of the sights that they see. So that's the captain.
Rand's
Yeah,
curly hair is funny.
it really is quite adorable. So, yeah. Okay. So thoughts on
Yeah,
this
this
one?
was a disappointing chapter to me. Just far as like some of the insight that I feel like it gave.
Right, right.
Because again, in our past discussions, I told you, well, previous discussions we just had, I said when they start switching character perspectives, it
Mm,
makes me a little bit nervous. And then they go straight back to Rand, and he has the dream in the mirror, and it's pretty much saying, "You are this guy. I am you.
mm,
You are the dark." And it's like, oh my goodness, man. Hopefully, he's not the villain, or he ends up not being able to run away from being the bad part as opposed to being the good part of himself. So that was a little bit like irritating. I'm gonna go back and forth. So that was a little irritating, just understanding that this is a possibility. Rand could end up being the bad guy, or being somebody that has to get put down because he's straight up Anakin. Again, going back to the Anakin storyline, he becomes Anakin a little bit. The good part about the storyline is like this whole ship voyage. Man, I would have loved to have seen that on the show. I just would have really loved to seen that on the show. This is a whole storyline as well that we did not get to see. This. But yeah, what are some of your thoughts? You think this might have been a budget thing, why they couldn't show a lot of sea voyage type things? What do you think?
I think it fully was budget. Like I mean, I don't know. I'm not in television, but I imagine ship stuff with, you got to have them on the water and you have to build it. Like, I just imagine it costs a lot of money. And for a first season of a show that they're not sure, like, that's my guess. I'm fully guessing. I do like, I love this. I'm seeing in the comments that do Bail Domon. Bail Domon is like a fan favorite, just partially because of the way he talks. Like, fortune, like it's just it's hilarious. I love, he's such a character that it would have been really nice to see him and see all of this. But
yeah, it would have been. And speaking of Thorn, I know you said the Thorn in a dream. Every time I thought of the Thorn in a dream and he woke up, it made me also think, well, there's about to be a thorn in your side with Brother Gil, because the animosity in that brother is building something serious. They might have had to throw that brother off the ship. And I hate that Gil just seemed like he got the short end of the stick from day one when he got hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Brother Gil, man, I can just tell he just seems like he has, and it boils over on other episodes. He has this like deep anger because of everything that has transpired and the outlook that everybody has against him now. And it's all geared towards Rand, Matt, and Tom.
Yeah.
And I just know he's going to end up doing something that's going to get them either caught, or that's what I was thinking in the moment, that he's going to do something it's not going to be good for them. But
yeah. I feel like this is just getting real into the weeds and about Gil, but I feel like if he just like taken responsibility and been like, look, I'm sorry, I dozed off, it would have been better for him. But instead he was like, no, like he lied. He refused to admit that he was asleep. And then he blamed Rand, and everybody knows that he's lying. So nobody trusts him. I think that's what's going on.
Yeah. He so to your point, it's like you're almost like, it's almost your fault because it wouldn't have happened to you if you had a I get it. Brother Gil is gonna fall on his own sword, it seems like.
I do, but you are right. Like, I do feel, because he was just this, like, he was asleep and someone landed on him like foot for I just can't even imagine. Like, that's the worst possible way to wake up. Someone just landing on you.
Unpopular opinion though. I think if Gil had not been landed on, the Trolloc who hopped aboard would have killed good Brother Gil.
Probably.
Unpopular opinion. Brother Gil was
probably.
One of those brothers.
Yeah, very, very
Brother
probably.
Gil would have been a Trolloc snack.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? No bag included.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just looking. Okay, so we had my notes here. Okay, Rand on the mast of the ship. Any thoughts on that? Did that
that out of body experience? Yeah, the out of body experience. This again, it's just getting weird to me. It's like, man, I know we're seeing your thoughts on things, and then we're seeing you do things that you don't even know that you knew how to do. I'm getting a little bit, I'm gonna just read about you and try to like you, but I'm gonna keep my distance. So if something too bad happens to you, I don't have to, shed a few tears and dab a few eyes. But that's my thoughts about him doing that. And then him also, everybody was pretty much, I guess, scared for him or nervous for him, and him not even knowing that was the case. It was crazy. It was kind of weird. It was definitely weird.
It's not until he's down on the ground and he looks up and he's like, why was I up there? It is. Yeah, because he was just up there. Oh, this is so fun. I'm like swaying, he's being crazy. Gil did nothing wrong. Gil did two things wrong.
Oh, Brother Gil, man.
Yeah.
It would have been brother for Gil to be a Trolloc snack than to go about life the way I think he's about to go about it. But that's an unpopular opinion.
Yeah. And then, of course, when Rand is descending down the mast with his like flourish of a performer, he finally sees
Yeah.
Matt's dagger.
Confirmed the suspicion I had. Obviously I watched the show. So I'm thinking he stole something when they went to Shadow Lagarde. Is that, am I saying it right?
There's there's two
Correct me
different
if
ways
I'm
to
wrong.
pronounce it, and no, because I said no. I said that so forcefully. I say Shador Logoth, but the show says Shador Logoth, so it's like
Okay.
make up your mind. It doesn't matter.
Yes. So that place.
Yeah.
I knew Matt had it. It was, I was just waiting for it to real his ugly head. And honestly, it's hard for me to kind of not be done with Matt right now,
Mm,
because it's like you keep doing foolish things, whether it's uh uh messing with the children of the light, the white cloak
mm,
guys, doing dumb things like that, trying to steal lying about different things, trying to play pranks. There's a funny side to it, and there's like a, okay, dude, like you're putting us in predicaments that could have serious repercussions right now. And Matt seems to just kind of like, oh, he's my friend, just wipes it off. And it's like, it's almost as third party, you can see the danger somebody's in by being around somebody, but because that person is friends with them, they're like, oh no, it's just, he's just an innocent, having fun type of guy. It's like, no, that guy's gonna get you killed. He's gonna get you in a situation that's pretty bad.
that's where you're at now with him. Okay,
That's where
I
I'm at.
yeah.
Hopefully he can come back, but
Yeah, he is getting like he's becoming more suspicious and
oh, for sure.
yeah. Do you think that that's just who he is, or do you think that that's something coming on, like that he's
I don't
changing, or
know. I don't know, because even before he took the dagger, he seemed a little money hungry to me.
mm,
Um,
mm,
so even before he had the dagger, one of the reasons he wanted to take something from that is because he wanted some treasure.
yeah, yeah,
And then when they're on the ship talking about whatever treasure or whatever case may be, he kind of pricks his ears up to that as well. It's like, so I don't know if that's just who he is, or if the dagger is feeding off of some of that greed as well.
yeah.
But it's not a good look. I do think there's portions of him, but I don't know how strong it is yet. Obviously, I know how bad it gets with the dagger, but
Mm. It's sorry, I'm just having like a revelation as you're talking of one of the changes from the book to the show is like in the book we have no indication of whether or not
mm-hmm.
Matt's family is poor or whatever, but the show very heavily leaned into he's poor. And this
Oh
might
yeah.
you what you're saying might be why. Like this
Mhm.
idea that he's really, really money hungry, they might have taken that and been like, well, why is he so money hungry? Maybe he grew up poor.
His
That
background,
might
yeah,
be, yeah, that might be
that
why.
makes
Because
sense.
there's
That
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
Mm,
And I think subliminally or just in my head already, because I've seen the show, it's already like I have this idea about his backstory, which
mm,
makes me think that he does really want money. Because in the show, it shows his mom, being drunk and mad because the dad's over
yeah,
there messing with somebody, and then they go back to the kids. The kids look dirty and dusty in the house.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So it made me already think that he wants the money for a more admirable reason,
Mm,
but it's starting to have a dark effect on him.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Huh, that is interesting. So
But when I read the book, it's more so like, dude, you're just being a clown right now. What are you doing?
yeah, yeah, very much so, very much so. Uh, how about like some of the stuff that Bail Domon says, like the captain of the ship says that they see as they pass by? Did you have any thoughts on that, or did I don't know? What did you think of the
Yes,
captain? Yeah,
I thought he was an interesting guy. I also think, I don't know if he was somewhat protective of Matt Rand and Tom because of the crew's suspicion or growing suspicion,
mm,
but he also starts telling stories. And then I also did notice that he did take their silver coins. Um,
yeah,
And I wonder if this is going to impact how Moraine tracks them, because she said she was be able to track them because of those
because of the
coins.
coin. Yeah,
So it made me wonder if that's going to put a wrench in the plans. But and I'm sure you'll fill me in on more details here. But
mm.
wasn't there some story he was telling about some tower that if anybody got like 100 feet or a mile, whatever close to it, it would like kill them, or
Yeah,
something would kill them. So that stood out to me
mm.
too, because I was
Yeah.
wondering, as we had the session last time where you're paralleling some stuff to older times, and I was wondering if that was something that was like that as well.
Yeah, this one, I mean, there's some things in there that he describes that are plot relevant. Some things are I don't know what you want to call it, like just flavor for the world. And when I'm reading it, I do find myself like, what was Robert Jordan thinking? Because I don't know if you know about this. Robert Jordan had a degree in, what is it, physics? Or he had like the man was not like he was very educated, like nuclear physics
Yeah,
or something like that. Like he knew
that's
stuff
crazy.
about stuff that I do not understand. So yeah, I like when I'm reading that, like, what is it? Is this supposed to be a satellite? Is this supposed to be a nuclear power? Like, I don't know. I don't actually some of I don't know. This one I have not actually researched, so I don't really know. But
Got you.
yeah, it's cool. It's wild.
But
Uh
it's funny because we're reading a story, and not only is the story enticing, but the story that characters in the story are telling are enticing as
yes,
well. It's
yes.
like a double layer of entertainment.
Yeah, it the depth of things that to talk about in this world. I like there's a part of my brain, I always say this, it's kind of there's a part of my brain that forgets that it's not real. So I was,
Mm.
oh, I wish I want to read a book about that. This doesn't exist, Jenny. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
exist.
Hey,
Because
what they call these spin-off shows? You can do a
yeah,
spin-off show.
I would like that. I would absolutely like that. All right, before we go on to the next chapter, any further thoughts on this one?
Um, no, but it was a little bit interesting how quick the captain was to potentially, whether it was just in front of the crew or for
Mm.
Matt and them sake, dismiss that the Trollocs were after them specifically and that they were just not after something else. His dismissal of that was a little bit like, dude, are you naive or are you trying to be positive? So it was
Mm.
interesting. That was my other thought in regards to that chapter.
Yeah, because he said something like, "These Trollocs do be following me." So the Trollocs are following. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
thinks
Are
the
you a
Trollocs are
dark
following.
friend, brother?
Yeah, he thinks the Trollocs are following him. So I don't know. That's weird.
That must be that either that or he's super egotistical.
Yeah, man, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Charles worth
Ah,
their time chasing him.
maybe. The coins. I did want to answer your question about the coins because Maureen does say it that she now like because they don't have their coins anymore. That's why she chose at this point to follow. I think
Mhm.
Parent because she can't track them at this point. So
Mm.
that's why she was doing that. And now
Okay.
that I'm thinking about it, if they'd split the party, I don't know that Nynaeve can track on water. Like I don't. She would have just lost them at the river. She probably would have just lost Rand at the
Hey,
river.
listen. After what I seen Nynaeve do on episode 4, I'm
Yeah.
not doubting anything that sister can do. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. All right.
Nynaeve might. Hey, I'm just saying she got named the one for a reason. That's all I'm
She
gonna say.
did. She absolutely did. Okay. So all right, let's move on to the next chapter here.
Sweet.
The icon is the 3 leaves on a branch, and the chapter title is The Traveling People. Perrin, Egwene, Elias, and the wolves travel together until they meet the traveling people, otherwise known as the Tuathon. The Tuathon welcome them and ask them if they know the song, and Elias says that they don't. And Elias
Mhm.
explains to Perrin and Egwene that the Tuathon are searching for a song that they say will bring back paradise. The leader's grandson, Aram, comes over to flirt with Egwene and explains the pacifist philosophy of the Tuathon. They do no violence. They believe violence harms both the victim and the perpetrator of violence. Elias tells them to stop trying to convert them, and they say they don't. People just join them because they like what they hear. Then the leader of the Tuathon proceeds to tell a story he heard a few years back that he's trying to understand. A story about an Aiel woman who had been fighting Trollocs, and all but one of them had died. All but one of the Aiel had died. And she approached the wagons of the Tuathon, despite the fact that the Aiel despised the traveling people, to give them a message that the Dark One means to blind the eye of the world. And no one knows what this message means. Oh, yes. And let me get you the Todd's drawing here.
This brother here, man.
I
Brother game, man. Brother game.
Brother Game. Oh, I love it. Brother Game. Yes. Yes. That is a good name for Aram. Oh my gosh. That is such a good name for Aram. He's just so bright in this picture.
Man, he is that lime green jacket on, that neon green jacket on.
Yes.
Too smooth
Oh.
for sure.
Mhm.
Oh man, I was thinking, they were gonna walk up there, gonna ask him for the song, and parents gonna say, "Amazing Great." I was like, "Oh, brother, is that the
Nice.
song you ready
Nice.
for?" No, not that
Yeah.
one. But yeah, I remember they had the same situation in the show,
Mm.
and I thought Perrin and Egwene answered it with something, didn't they? Or didn't they answer? I thought they.
Aram in the show, Aram tells them how to respond because they don't have Elias with them. Like in the book, Elias
Mhm.
knows how to respond, and Aram, like they just stand there frozen because like these people have just come out of the mist in the show. Do you know the
Mhm.
song? And they don't know how to respond. And Aram says some, I forget the words, but Aram tells them the exact words to say to respond.
Yeah, and it made me think. Well, do y'all just determine whether or not you're going to give people the cheat sheet based on whether or not you think they're going to be a detriment to your village or not, or
Maybe,
how does
yeah.
this work? Because, how does this work? but, but yes, so meeting this group, it was one that killed my suspicions that the people were wolves. So it kind
Mm.
of killed that because
Yeah,
when I'm
yeah,
watching the show, I'm wondering, okay, can these people transform or not? Oh yeah,
yeah.
the way they just kind of get up and they're nomadic, like they can probably transform to what. So it killed all of that. So
Yeah.
I got that question answered for the series. In regards to the show, it is apparent to me that Elias has some type of history with these people.
Mm.
Even going into an interaction one time, and I forget if it's this chapter or another, where Aram was about, or the guy was about to say something to him. He's like, and Elias was like, shh,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
say that. And then they kind of cut it off. But these people are is interesting because they're known or they have a reputation for stealing people's kids, I guess,
Yeah,
if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
And it's funny because I guess nobody who's a thief will tell you that they're a thief. They'll just say, "Well, my mom's hungry. I got to feed my family." They're always painted in
Yeah.
a way that makes them look the best, the
Everybody
best
thinks
way.
they're the hero. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and although it doesn't sound like they're going to people's home and taking the kids out the cradle and putting them in the
Mm.
crown, but it's like we're going this way.
Yeah, yeah.
There's room aboard.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
my son has to go to elementary school tomorrow. He has to finish his crayon drawing. What are you doing with little Timmy?
Yeah, yeah.
But they're an interesting group of folks. It's because it's almost hard not to like them because of some of their ideologies that they have.
Mhm.
But I'm wondering what's the lines between manipulative and nice with these particular people. So yeah.
Yeah. What did you okay, I'll ask you first before I say my thought. Like what did you think about the way their philosophy was presented in the show versus the book?
Very, how do I put it? It's definitely cool seeing Elias be with them because he kind of voices some of his disdain that you kind of
Mhm.
think in your head when it comes to violence specifically with
Right.
them, just knowing what's going on in the world, in
Yeah.
their world, not this one.
Yeah, yeah,
In their
yeah.
world, it's the non-violence thing is a little bit interesting because it's almost like, so are you people telling me that if a child comes up and he's about to eat your child,
Mm.
that it's like, well, I hope that one of my child's bones doesn't choke him on the way down.
Yeah.
That seems like something they would say.
Yeah, yeah.
But then again, with that same thing, the way he said that violence does more harm to the person who does it than the other, it
Mm.
had me kind of like, dang, that's deep.
Mm.
So I'm like, goodness gracious, that's some deep stuff.
Yeah.
Especially talking about how to rust the axe
Rest
and
the
things of that
axe and
nature.
stuff. Yeah. My thoughts on this one in the book, I always found the Tuathan they're nice, and like I'm using that word very specifically. They're nice. Like I didn't find them compelling. I found them, oh, they're nice people. I hope they do well. Like that was my thought. In the show, the way their philosophy is presented hit me. Like it felt like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
this is worth it. Like I see why you think it's worth dying for this philosophy. It felt way
Yeah.
more deep in the show. Whereas and it might be
Yes.
because of the fact in the book that you have Elias presenting opposing views that it
Uh-huh.
maybe lessens the weight, but you also had that amazing speech about like what better revenge against death than life, what better revenge, like
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that speech is. Like it's a good speech and it just yeah.
And to your point, even amplified by the fact that where things deviate when they interact with the white clothes, the ways they link up together and let them
Mhm.
smack them. your point is even more emphasizing that. Like, what hit me, it's like, what are y'all doing? If y'all don't run or fight or get out the way or whatever it may
Yeah.
be, we're not gonna just be getting smacked around like this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me that just the way that they presented it. I don't know, that hit me. How about Aram? Sorry, thoughts on Aram?
So hold on,
Brother
because
Gain,
I
you
don't want
called
to
him.
I don't want to. This is the thing. I don't want to mess up the nicknames. Their son, what is his name again? Or the son's name?
His name is Aram, Aram, Aram. And I think you referred to him as Brother Gain. He was the guy in the lime green jacket in the drawing there.
Okay, so he's the son who was trying to, talk
Get
to
with the
Gwen,
Gwen. Yeah,
correct?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is Brother Gwen. I think he is. It's interesting because in the I feel like he was somewhat of a breath of fresh air for Gwen as they were out, or
Yeah.
a fun little adventure. But I was wondering, like, okay, how far are y'all gonna go with this, or is it just like you seem like a cute person, you seem like a fun person,
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
we can never be together because of our past.
Yeah, yeah.
But pairing two, but the guy also seems petty. I'm gonna just be honest, he does seem a little bit petty,
Mm,
just simply based on like how we see parents' perspectives of how he
yeah,
looked at him, like, yeah, you ain't getting her, I got her. And it's like,
yeah.
first of all, she came with me in the first place, brother. So I don't know
Mm.
what you think is going,
Yeah, yeah.
but at the time it's hard to decipher if Aaron has both like a brotherly type love for her, or
Yeah.
if he will eventually like her, because he always is. The thing about him that is somewhat admirable is he's always thinking of Rand a lot of times when he's thinking of a Gwen, or when he's thinking
Hmm.
about how to manage a Gwen.
Yeah,
So that makes me think that he's not trying to pursue her that way. Or it
yeah.
also makes me think of, well, I know she likes this type of guy, so do I have to be this
Be
type of
that
way
type of
to
guy.
get her attention? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting way to think about that. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything at this point, but I will say for myself, show versus book, Aram. In the book, I hate Aram. He walks
Oh
in
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to get this girl. Look how pretty I am. Like he's just in the show. I was like,
It's like his intentions are written all on his face.
all on his face. And in the show, he just seems like a nice guy who, he might be trying to get her, but it doesn't feel like it's a game to him. He's just like, this is a nice girl. Let me see. Whereas in the book, it does feel like, oh, here's a guy. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to beat him at getting this girl. Like,
That's
and
an
the
interesting
girl
take.
isn't a human. She's a prize to prove
That's
to
a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's actually an interesting take, more so from the side of, like, I feel like the show
Mm.
is how women view Aram, but the book is more so how you should view him.
Maybe
Because
it
like
could
when
be.
a girl sees a fun guy, they think, oh, he's fun, he's harmless, I'm gonna have fun with him. But it's like, I think this guy's trying to go to second base with you a lot quicker than you know what I'm saying,
Than you
than
want.
you want
Yeah.
to, or not for the same reason that you think he wants to. So that's an interesting part of it. That is interesting.
Yeah. Maybe the book might be giving you a peek behind the curtain
Yes,
into who he is. Because
because to who
I
sees a guy like that, they think he's just a cute, fun guy.
Yeah, because I was shocked in the show. Like it was a thing that I kept like, why do I like him? In the book, I hate him. I hate him so much.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
show like people I hate. I don't like it. I don't like
yeah.
it. So okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about in this chapter, that story that the Aiel told. Were you able to decide, like, was any of that stand out to you?
The Aiel, refresh me a
That
little bit about some of the details.
Okay, so the leader of the Tuathon tells the story that he's been trying to understand. So that's why he's telling it to Elias. He's hoping Elias will help him understand it. And he says that the Aiel approached the traveling people to
Got
give
you,
them
got
this
you.
message. Yeah. And I'll tell you, like the message, I'll just read it here. It says, Leaf Blighter means to blind the eye of the world.
Oh yeah,
He means to slay the great serpent, warn the people, Sightburner comes, tell them to stand ready for he who comes with the dawn.
Yes.
And yeah, the leader of the Tuatha has no idea what this means. Any thoughts?
In that story, because it made me think of Rand's mother a little bit, how they were talking about women and things like that who went on a fight and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But blind the eye of the world and I know the book is titled Eye of the World,
Mhm.
but it makes me think like, what does that mean? What does that title mean? What does that
Yeah.
mean in the grand scheme of things? Because it gets used a lot, like, and then she also brings up, blinding it and things of that nature. It just makes me more curious, if anything, about how the title of the book plays into the main narrative.
Mm.
So that's the only thing I can think of from that surface of
From
things. And
that,
it's
yeah.
also interesting how, again, her dying words were to people that she didn't really care too much for.
Mm.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting. And like if you kept they don't know what this story means at this point at all. Like they're very confused by it. But okay. Sorry. Sean, tonight you have to get up pretty early in the morning to meet he who comes with the dawn. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, yes, Sean. Today coming in with the puns always. Uh, so all right. Are you ready to go on to the next chapter?
Yeah, one last thing about this, it makes me wonder because we see Perrin's interaction in the show with the white cloaks later on. It makes
Mm,
me wonder, is this interaction with these people pivotal and why Perrin is a little bit more reserved when it comes to violence moving forward?
mm,
Because I wonder if, although he didn't remain with this group, if he did strongly adopt some of their philosophies about life. That's what
yeah.
I'll say. That it made me in a book think about this more. Okay, is this why when XYZ happened in the future that
Mm,
he acted a little bit more reserved in those
reserved
manners?
in
So
that.
that's what it made me think.
Yeah, they hinted at this a bit. I mean, obviously, hinted at might be the wrong word in the show because they do spend a fair amount of time with the Tuathon in the show. In like episode 7, when he's talking with Rand and the rest of them, he actually is talking about the Tuathon because like, they jump in and Rand's like, they don't eat any meat. Like, so you
Yeah.
get that they're actually having that conversation about it. So it has had an impact on him of some kind. But okay, then I guess.
Sight burner, and leaf blighter though. I won't forget those.
Oh, you jumping ahead to my quiz now. Don't worry,
Hey, I
not
just
missing
it
anything.
still has to be asked. I didn't
It
say
has to be asked. Has to be asked. Has to be asked. All right.
that.
I promise. I promise. I won't erase anything. Okay. All right. The next chapter is chapter 26. It's called White Bridge, and the icon is uh, the harp here. Let me get that up
Again,
there.
is this
Yeah. Oh wait, did I? Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's the harp again. Um, Oh, the traveling people. I didn't show you their icon. I think that's what happened. The traveling people, it's the 3 leaves on a branch is the traveling people's icon. And then White Bridge is the harp. So yeah, the icons get reused sometimes. So
okay?
uh, okay. So this one is yeah. Perrin, Matt, and Tom arrive at White Bridge, which has a pretty epic white bridge.
Did
The
you mean
captain
Rand met and Tom?
Perrin. Oh yeah, I did. My gosh, my notes are
If
wrong.
Perrin came and I didn't know, I would have been mad. I was like, I didn't
Yeah,
see
yeah, I
that
know.
one.
My notes are wrong. Sorry. Oh, all the boys get mixed up in my head. Okay, so I'll stop. Anyway, okay. The captain tries to get Tom to stay on because he's good for ship morale, and he actually
Mhm.
gives them their money back and some extra, but not the coins that Moraine gave them.
Mhm.
Rand, Matt, and Tom. This time I got it right in my notes. Make their way to an inn in the middle of town, and they try fishing for information from the innkeeper to see if the others have come through. The innkeeper tells them that the false dragon Logain has been captured and is being paraded about by the Aes Sedai, and many people are going to Camelin to see him. Rand asks specifically about the others from their party, and the innkeeper tells them that a crazy, skittish man was asking about the same people a few days ago, and also a Fade was asking. Tom tries to convince them to go to Ilion with the ship, but while he's trying to convince them, Gelb shows up and starts telling everyone in the bar about 3 dark friends on the ship. And Tom realizes that the ship won't be safe anymore.
Yeah.
He divides up their coin, and Matt asks why he's helping, and this is when he tells the story of his nephew Owen, and then he goes and gets a disguise so they can leave. And as they are making their way through town, a Fade approaches them. Tom gives his harp and cloak to Rand and Matt and tells them to go to Camelin and find something called the Queen's Blessing, and that he runs at the Fade, and Rand and
Mhm.
Matt run away. And this will be the Todd's drawing for this is this epic incident, which looks adorable, but was so heartbreaking. Of
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Brother Tom, man.
brother Tom, brother
Um,
Medieval McJagger.
before we start on this one, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording real quick and restart.
Okay,
And I'm
and
starting
restart.
back now.
Hmm.
We good? Okay. So this chapter here, one of the things I was wondering is if Tom has more tour dates available, because I was wondering when he's gonna come to Nashville. Because this guy right here, man, everybody wants a piece of Tom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he needs to have his own little, like, I don't know. This man needs to have an Instagram page, flyer days, all of that. We need to get him on Ticketmaster, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
This brother's a hot commodity. Medieval McJagger is.
Mm.
But so touching on them leaving, it seemed like they had a good impression on the captain to where he would like to keep them a part of the group, whether it was for
Mm.
morale or whether it was for because he had a gleeman on the ship, and I'm sure that'll make anybody's
Yeah, yeah.
a better place to be 100%.
Hmm.
When it comes to going to the bar, again, it was like, okay, with Gail, I knew it was coming. I knew at some point, I don't know, but it made me think, well, this isn't as bad as what I thought Gail was going to do. So is Gail going to come
Mm.
back to bite them a second or third time potentially?
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah. You're looking into the
Brother,
future.
yeah,
All right.
because it was a slight one.
Mm.
But what surprises me the most is when I watched the series, the fade. I think we only saw them interact with Matt and Perrin like that once, and it
Yeah.
was when Tom had a showdown with them, but in a different set of circumstances. They were on some little
Mm.
small farmhouse.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, in this instance, in hearing the town people speak or the bar guy speak about fades, it made me think. So, like, is their disguise that good enough that they can just be going out in plain sight and people kind of see them, but they don't leave them? They leave them alone. Is their disguise that good? Um, that was an interesting part, and especially if a lot of the way that the face seemed like they're just coming up talking to some people like, "Yo, if you see Rand Man Parent, let me know, or bro, I'm gonna come in your dreams again tomorrow night." It's like what exactly is the tactic?
Yeah.
Um,
They are described like they look like humans, except that their skin is this is descriptions smooth as an egg, which just sounds so gross.
yeah,
And they have no eyes. And so I think if they just keep a cloak on and cover like the top of their head, you know, and people just don't want to look at them, so they can sort of slide by if you don't look at them
yeah.
too close, maybe. But I just had to point this out
Um,
because the comments are cracking me up. Here we got Medieval McJagger is just Tom's name now. And then someone says, Rapunzel says, needs an RJ spelling. And then we've got a couple of options here.
that's a good one, Kate.
Jaguar
That's a good
and
one.
Medieval Mc.
That's a good collab right there. The Nerdy Negro RJ collab.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Uh, oh my gosh, Shansi,
That's
that's
funny.
painful. This is Medieval
Oh my goodness. I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that y'all know him so much that y'all able to come up with these spellings that good. The pronunciation seems very close.
Yes,
Um,
he does.
but
Uh,
but yeah, but going back to the bar scene and hearing Gilbert them talk, and then also seeing the innkeeper's tone switch instantly after he
yeah.
gets the description. Because remember, he wanted Tom and them to stay for a while and was going to give them a discount on rooms and food. And
Mm.
then after they told him who we're looking for, it's like, yeah, brother, drink this wine and get on up out my bar.
Yeah,
it, was, it,
pretty
was,
much.
it was
Yeah.
it was it was that quick.
Yeah.
Um, but it was also alarming because we are seeing that not only the Fae was looking for him,
Mm.
and I think they said it was two individuals that
Yes,
had
they said
asked about.
a crazy skittish man came
Mhm.
around looking for them as well. Any
Which made
thoughts
me
on
wonder if
that?
that was it made me wonder if that was Patton Fane again.
Mm.
But I don't know. He only seemed crazy and skittish with the interaction in the last city, not
Yeah.
overall. Normally, he just seems like I don't know, like sedity and focused and about his business.
Well,
Crazy and skittish. Go ahead.
I do have to just give it a little bit because the description that they give of this man in this chapter, I picked out the crazy skittish, but they do say he's crazy and skittish one moment, and the next moment he's real demanding and like acts like he's better than everybody else. And then he gets crazy and skittish
Okay.
again, and then so he's whatever's going on with this person. that who's
So
asking
if I
around.
had to vote today, then I would say Pat and Fane.
Okay, because
Um,
I'm just pulling that's right out of the book. I'm not that's not a spoiler, but they do say that he just varies between his behavior is erratic. Let's just say.
mhm.
Um,
And then going from the show, obviously, spoiler alert to those who haven't seen episode 8 yet, but
mm,
we see him with fades and with
right,
Madro.
right.
So it wouldn't be weird to me if he did have them double back. All right, you go check in, and then I'm gonna go ask him too, and we're gonna see if there's any difference in the stories between a regular person and an egghead person.
Yeah,
We'll see
yeah.
who they give more information to. We'll see how we get this thing bored. We'll see how we scramble this situation.
Egghead person.
I'm not gonna lie. I might be more inclined to tell the truth to an egghead brother than a normal brother. Just
That might be
depending on
too.
how they come at me.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. Before you were saying how Mick Jagger needs like an Instagram, have you noticed this difference between the book and the show? In that the show, his social media is his cloak because the
Yeah.
outside is super colorful. It has all these patches on it. Whereas in the show, he's got this cool corduroy jacket. The
Mhm.
inside has the patches, so it's much more subtle. What do you think about that change?
Um, I actually think maybe because it was so subtle that I didn't even think too
Yeah.
much about it. But now it makes me want to go back and watch the show and then
Mm.
compare it a little bit more, especially after seeing the drawing that you showed me that the guy did. So
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
pretty interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's like when you see people cosplaying as Tom, it like their cloaks are they have all these colorful patch. I don't know.
Huh.
It's very very different. So he's like a walking poster for himself. Like
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, he
he really
definitely is
is.
a hot commodity for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing he caught me off guard with in regards to this one is it was like a he plays too much moment when they were on their. I don't know if we want to talk about the escape yet, but
Mm.
when they were escaping, he pulls up in the same outfit that they described that the Madral had on,
Yes.
seemingly, and it was like, what? And it was like, oh, it's Tom. It's like, all right, Tom, you next time, say what's up or hey or Blue 42 said her,
Yeah.
the medieval McJagger and something like that, some code name, brother. Don't pull up on me with the same outfit description that the Madral had on, please.
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. The other thing I noted in this chapter that we haven't talked about yet um, is that people in this town do not believe in Trollocs. It's just this idea, like we know they're real because we saw them early on in the books and we've seen them attack and you've seen them in the show. But in this town, people literally think that they're a myth, and it's
Yeah,
just this idea that the world doesn't really understand the evil that they're dealing with.
yeah. I would say
Yeah,
seeing is believing, but I guess a Madral can't abide by that, huh? Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, these people here are very interesting. It almost made me wonder if Gil was gonna get just laughed out of the bar and if there would be
Mhm.
no ramifications to him telling the story. But I think the pivotal word is it's like even if people don't believe in Trollocs, when you start throwing that dark friend word around,
Mhm.
people will take that a little serious. It
Yeah, because
seems like.
that's human evil. That everybody understands
Yeah,
human evil. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It
And
almost
then
reminds me of what is like the Salem witch trials. As soon as you call somebody a witch, it's like this person is going to get investigated to the
to
most
the
thorough
end,
extent,
yeah,
or just want to. They're just going to go and exterminate them without evidence, just because that name got cast on them.
yeah, exactly. And then the other thing in this chapter, you just see Matt keeps grabbing his dagger. Anytime anybody bothers him, he just reaches for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, we
Wasn't
got
there?
some.
Was it this chapter? There was something that Tom was saying that he grabbed the daggers if he's going to
Yep,
come at Tom a certain way.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just he's getting real. Matt's becoming a problem. He's becoming a
Real
bit of an issue here.
tainted individual he is becoming.
Hmm. Okay. Any other thoughts on this chapter before we move on to chapter 27?
I want to make sure this is the encounter that Tom has with.
Oh, of course, yes.
I'm about to say we're gonna miss. Woo,
No, we can't just jump
woo.
over that. We cannot jump over that. So yeah, this is when he divides the coin. This is when he tells them about
you
Owen, and
you
then
actually
this,
made me
yeah,
feel happy at first because I was like maybe I just had a dream that it happened and it actually didn't happen. So Tom's actually in good condition. So you almost made me feel good at first, but the house of mine didn't appear
no,
in my dream, so
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't have
yeah,
one of those.
yeah, no,
Um,
he full on, yeah,
yeah, I get so my only thing is this is because of like this, like the third, maybe fourth interaction they have face to
Mm,
face with a withdrawal, I'm becoming less scared of them in regards to head-on battles with some of the main characters.
yeah.
Um, but as in the show, it's like, nah, this might be it. You know, if
Mm,
you face them, and in regards to Tom's situation with the withdrawal, it still felt like well, they left us on a cliffhanger the same way this chapter left us on a cliffhanger with his
yeah, yeah.
encounter with the withdrawal. But it is not because I will say, as much as I enjoyed Tom in the series,
Mm,
I think I'm enjoying him even more in the book.
yeah,
I would say I think I'm starting. I like his. I like all the backstory information and just hearing his thought process about things even more so in the book than
yeah.
in the show. His character, he'd be a huge loss if he goes out
What do you
fighting
think? What
this.
do you think's happened with him? Like, do you think he's gone? Do you think he's coming back?
No,
Do you
because
think?
oh, I think he'll be. I don't think he'll die from this just based off the statement that the young lady had. Was it men that she told Ren early on about some things
Mm.
in the future with him juggling fire, something like that. So
Oh, okay,
hopefully he
yeah, yeah.
lives to fulfill whatever that thing men was telling Ren about. But so
Mm.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he might be injured from this situation, but he's still good.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, I know. I this is like one of those things I do like, remember from the first time of just, I felt so bad because it's because because he feels guilty about his nephew, but this man threw himself at a
Hmm.
fade to protect these
Yeah,
boys that
he's
he's
a
known
real
for
one.
like maybe a couple weeks. Like it's just
He's a real.
yeah,
He's like an uncle to them.
mm,
It's like uncle love.
exactly. It fully is, fully is. Can't believe I almost skipped over that. What's wrong with me? Because I do love Tom. Like he's a good man, or he was a good
Okay,
man.
I'm
Anyway,
glad. Whoa! What you mean was?
I'm he.
Hold on, Jenny. You can't do that. You can't do that.
He's
Oh
a good
my
man. He's a good
goodness,
man. He's a good man. So
Jenny, you can't do that.
I'm
Oh
just
my
saying.
goodness.
I'm just saying. All right, all
Yeah,
right,
you
all
might
right.
be hinting at something. He might have something bad might have happened to him like book 7 or 10, right? Not book
Mm.
one. No.
I mean, they're all fictional people, so we don't know. So anyway,
Oh man,
all right, all right.
I
Anyway,
trusted you, Jenny.
all right, I'm sorry. If he like, we don't know. He threw himself at a fade. I'm telling you, my thoughts when I first read this was just no. This man
Hope
threw
I
himself.
know he threw himself at a fade, but the way you said that is indicating that he might have faded away in the process.
I'm. I will see. We'll see. All right. Okay. Any further thoughts on this before we move on to the next one?
Nah, just much respect for Tom in this moment.
Yeah.
Just much respect for him,
Much
and how
respect for
he
him.
cares for the boys, and I look forward to seeing how he continues to mentor them moving forward.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. So let's move on to the next chapter. The next chapter is here we go. The icon is again the three leaves on a branch. The title is Shelter from the Storm. Perrin and Egwene continue to travel with the Tuathon. Perrin is feeling restless, but his dreams have been peaceful except for a weird wolf presence. He wants to go, but Elias just
Hmm.
has a feeling that they need to stay. Egwene is enjoying herself too, and even starts to learn the sexy dance that the Tuathon women do that makes Perrin blush. Perrin finally does have a creepy Balsamon dream where a wolf catches fire and ravens peck at his eyes. And he wakes up and Elias is there saying it's time to go. They have a brief-ish goodbye with the traveling people, and then they go their separate ways. And the Todd's drawing from this chapter is this would be from the dream. We've got Mistress Luhan cooking, Fire Eyes, and Perrin. It's just
Mm.
adorable because I love Todd's drawings. Anyway, okay, so
Question:
yeah.
Todd's drawings. Did he draw
Mm.
them before the series aired or after the series aired?
I think after the series aired. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
because yeah, I see some like record like some similarities between the
Hmm.
drawings
That's why I
and
was
like the
curious. I was wondering if he loosely kind of based
yeah
appearance
on the show.
based off what he's seen from the show to the book, or if he did it prior to. Um, Yeah, so this chapter here was a wake up call because as
Mm,
smoothly as things were going for them, so to speak, even the interaction with the wolves that went over
mhm.
relatively smoothly. But
Yeah,
when the brother starts coming in your dreams, it's like, all right, we gotta get to where we going. You know,
yeah.
brother Bahausamon, the Digimon is
Yes.
digital masters. He's
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to come and get me.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that dream was already weird to me from the stance of the woman just kept cooking like nothing was happening. And
yeah,
I'm like, this is weird. And then and of course, also I'll say this. He opened up saying that wasn't it something like she didn't even let people do something in the house, let alone the wolf came and just sat there by them and
yeah,
she didn't
yeah.
even acknowledge that, so to speak. So it was almost like I don't think this is something that's happening in real time, or
Mm,
if it is happening in real time, it's happening in his head in real time. Um, but it's this guy's reach, but Hauserman's reach is just insane, and it makes me not even want to take a nap, to be honest.
yeah, it is alarming for sure. This was just another incident. I completely like it's foolish to me, but it's just another incident where Egwene just really wants to absorb absolutely everything from everywhere she goes. Like I want to learn how
Yeah,
to talk to
yeah,
wolves. I want to unbraid my hair. Teach me to channel. Teach me this dance. Teach me everything. Like she just absolutely everything. Um, I do have to tell this story just because this just makes me. When the show
yeah.
was coming out and like the cast was announced, there were some people I'm sure you can guess who had some. There's always racists in the fandom who were like
Uh-huh.
Perrin. They cast a black man as Perrin, and one person came at me online about how Perrin could not be black because in this chapter, Perrin blushes when the women are dancing sexy and black men can't blush. And I remember just reading this being like, okay, first of all, do you think black people we don't have
Oh
blood vessels
man,
in our face that
I
blush?
was gonna
Because
show y'all something too. So y'all familiar with cupping? This is like maybe TMI. Y'all see that? That's a
yeah,
red thing. Y'all really see that?
I can
It
see it.
might be TMI.
Yeah,
Y'all see that? Hey, that's as close to red on the black man as y'all may able to see right there. So we can blush a little bit. It just may be under some of the, some of
yeah,
the what do you call the melanin under
yes.
there.
It just was like one of those. Like, are you serious? Okay, first of all, black people can blush. Secondly, do you think this is a pivotal plot point? We have to see Perrin blush when women are.
Interesting.
What else? And
Interesting
third,
argument point
yeah.
there.
And then the third thing I wanted to just scream, have you looked at Marcus? Marcus is a fair skinned man. Like that dude is like, he's about the same color as me. And I am what my grandmother used to call high yellow. She used to look at me and call me high yellow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I blush. I blush for sure. So,
That's an interesting arguing point.
but it's just dealing with racists
So
online. Sometimes it's just, you want to smack
yeah,
them.
but going back to the blush word though,
Mm.
is that just a feeling in conjunction with a color change as well? Is that what they're trying to indicate?
Well,
Or like
because it's in
if we
parents.
define blush,
Yeah, because this is from parents' perspective. So parent feels it. Like it's not necessarily other people looking at his face and seeing that he's red. He feels the heat in his face because you don't
okay,
see yourself when you blush. So yeah, that's that's what it is.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's
Eh,
funny.
yeah. Like it's not necessarily plot relevant, but that was just one of those things when you're just dealing with the fans. It's like, oh come on, come on.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
all the
Give
things
it
to
a break.
seriously. Being a moron. But okay. Let's see what else anything else in my notes on this chapter. Well, what did you like, all that stuff, like with the sexy dance and Elias being like, thank you. Thank you for being awkward around these girls because now they're doing this dance every night. Like yeah.
uh, it made me feel because there are a few girls who are iron pairing, and I
Mm,
feel like Perrin had a few opportunities to shoot a shot,
mm,
and he decided to take his ball and go home. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
That's okay. You know what I'm saying, brother. You don't have to
Mm.
engage with every woman who looks at you promiscuously and does a little dance. That stay on the safe side, brother. You don't want to have the wolfling along the whole valley of of the
Exactly.
community.
Yeah.
But it just made me wonder, like, is he, what do you call it? Is it just shyness, or is he just so focused on the goal or focused on a particular woman that he doesn't see anybody
Mm,
else in that way for right now?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he could also just be like, I don't know how, well, I do know how old he is, but he could just be like a young kid's first time out of these village.
yeah,
And, it's the first time you're dealing with this sort of thing. Like, doesn't quite
I
know
don't know,
how to
but
handle it.
isn't he like 20 something?
Uh, can I tell him? Tell me in the chat if I could tell him how old these kids are. So,
If it's
I'm,
not
I,
too spoilery, let
I
me
don't,
know.
yeah, I don't think it's spoilery, but
But even still, I don't say I wouldn't even say that age can determine your confidence when dealing with relationship type
yeah,
situations either. So not that that's an excuse, but I just
yeah.
know his counterparts seem to be a little bit more confident in
You're telling,
that space than he is.
yeah, as I was saying, I can tell you that they're about, they're like about 1920. Like
Okay,
yeah, like they're just, I sort of see them as like end of high school. Like they're
got you.
about to go off to college, that age level there. Um I think they age them up just a tiny bit in the show, but like by maybe a year, not even really. They I think just because,
Yeah, I would
needing
say in
older
the
actors
show,
and stuff.
despite what the show says their age are, in the show they look to me like they're 22 to
22, yeah.
30. Yeah, like in
That
anywhere between the 22 to 30 age range.
yeah.
Um,
Actually, yeah, 2020 is probably about accurate for their age. And as Shansani says, their naivete is about as much as being sheltered as their age. Like they've just lived in this tiny little
mhm.
village. And Rapunzel, you're right. I thought they were like, yeah, until somebody tells you their age,
12.
is their behavior in the books feels so young
Yeah,
sometimes. It
you're
really,
right.
really.
I have a different view too. I've seen the show. I have their faces in my head. I would be curious to see what I think their age was if I just read the book, didn't watch the show.
Yeah, yeah,
But maybe more so based off Matt's decisions, I would probably think they were younger,
yeah.
just
Like
based
that
off his
badger
decisions
thing.
alone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. I will say Perrin got off easy with that dream because those ravens came and pecked at his eyes. If like Rand was bleeding from it, like if that had been Rand, imagine
still, man,
Rand bleeding from it.
what a great time to wake up though, for sure.
Yeah,
Goodness
yeah.
gracious. But it's still, didn't
Oh,
he say he still kind of like felt it or he could
yeah.
think
He could
about the
still feel
intensity
the
of pain?
pain.
Oh, I still the side effects. That's true. That's too much.
Mm, mm.
Spare
It's
me one of
brutal.
them. Either spare me the dream or spare me the side effects. Don't give me both of them.
Yeah. Oh, it's all bad. The whole dream situation is bad. They're like in the show, I think we see 3 dreams. There are so many dreams in Eye of the World. There's just so many, and they're all unpleasant. There's nobody just, well, oh, Perrin, I guess, had a few pleasant dreams ish. But okay.
Actually, too, man, y'all got to stay to the end. Me and Jenny will probably have to talk about some of our weirdest dreams that we've ever had too.
Oh.
I'll show you. No, but Hauser moms were in it. Well, I don't know about Jenny, but he wasn't in mine.
Never had a Balsamon dream. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Okay. Then, if you're ready, then we can go on to the next chapter.
Aye, aye.
All right. So let me get the icon up here for you. It is just the staff, Moraine's staff, and the chapter title is Footprints in Air. Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan arrive at Whitebridge to find the city still reeling from whatever happened with the Fade. Nynaeve is shocked to see how people gravitate to Moraine and feel comfortable with her, receive comfort from her.
Yeah,
However, the people all seem to be lying about what happened in the city. They
for sure.
deny that there were any shadow spawn in the city, and they talk about how they chased the ship and others out of town. The party goes into the inn, and Moraine is able to tell that the boys were there and that they were very afraid, which Lan says makes sense because he can still feel that there was a Fade there. Moraine decides now not to go after the boy who has the coin, which we know is Perrin, and hope that the others just make. Moraine decides now to go after the boy who has the coin, which is Perrin, and hope that the others make their way to Camelin. Nynaeve asks
Okay.
about Egwene, and Moraine says she hopes Egwene is safe, but the boys, of course, are her priority. And
Yeah.
Todd's drawing from this one would be this white cloak coming up to them while they eat. I love the mouths on these little guys. It cracks me up every single time. So yeah. All right.
So many thoughts. I do see a comment in the chat, and I guess I want to ask you this one too.
Mm.
Are you team Moraine, Nynaeve, and Lan? Or are you using Matt and
Oh,
and Rand? Which
like
which team? Which
which
team do
party
you?
you're
Which party would you like to be a part of? If you had to be in one group or the other, which party would you rather be in?
I mean, okay, there's the part of me that's like, okay, I want to be with Nynaeve and Moraine just because I like watching them. But I also think that if you
Mhm.
actually put me in that situation, it would be awful because I would feel so tense the entire time. Because like Moraine, like, you know, Nynaeve staring daggers at her, and I would feel so uncomfortable. So I
Mhm.
would like to watch it, but uh, put me in any one of them.
Okay.
Probably Perrin and Egwene. To be honest, traveling with the
Okay.
Tuathon seems like it would be fun. How
Okay.
about you?
Okay. Um, I think I would go. I might have to go Moraine, Land, and Egwene. I mean, and
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve. I might have to
Yeah.
go Moraine, Land, and Nynaeve. I think I have to be a part of that one because
Yeah.
everybody else is the ones who are being in pursuit of.
Okay.
At
Yeah.
least in
You're
this group, I'm a part
yes.
of the pursuers.
Yeah. You're right. I'm fully thinking of just the social dynamic of it. Like, and I know that it would be because you are right. Everybody else, it's dangerous. That is the
Yeah, yeah.
smarter choice.
From
I
encountering
just
wolves to it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I would like to go to sleep at night, and there's nobody in this group yet that's been having dreams either. So you know
Yes.
what I'm saying.
Yes.
I can sleep a little bit better with this group.
Yeah. They're the trio that I am most interested in the dynamic between. Like I
Hmm.
of course there's the Nynaeve Land dynamic, which I'm loving because my heart just I'm a girly girl at heart. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not, but I am at a certain point, and it's just their
Hmm.
romance or the budding romance gets me, and the Moraine and Nynaeve dynamic fascinates me. But I think being around
Yes.
them, just I would feel like, how do I little revealing a little? I am a child of divorce. Parents fighting does not feel like you're just sitting there and you feel so tense. Like that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
imagining. It's just
I got you.
I want to go hide in my room and mom and dad
I
deal
know.
with this.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense. But as far as going back into this chapter,
Mm.
this guy walking up to the table,
Yeah.
obviously with less confidence that he would like to present was kind of
Mhm.
humorous humorous to me.
Once again, yeah, Land just like tears him down by sipping his beer.
That's a fact. And then
Yeah.
seeing the people gravitate to Moraine and Nynaeve kind of looking at that, it made me
Mm.
wonder like, is she using some other different type of power
Mm.
to comfort them or do something to them? But then again, with them flipping and telling lies, it almost made me wonder like, are you guys all dark friends, or did somebody tell y'all like, "Hey, y'all better shut up, or we're gonna come back through this city again, and ain't nobody telling nothing." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
It made me wonder like, why is everybody? I can see maybe one or two people. Why is everybody
Mhm.
lying though?
Everybody lying. Snitches get
Everybody
stitches.
lying.
Yeah.
I've heard of that, but it seems
Mm.
like I'm gonna have to come up with a different poem for that one. But yeah, these
Yeah.
folks right here, they were a little bit different. And it was interesting seeing how they kind of came to Moraine and how
Yeah.
Nynaeve was kind of looking at that and wondering about it. I don't know if it was from a well, why is it just her? Why don't they come to me, Land or me or Land and
Yeah.
ask for?
I do. For me again because she is the character that I want to understand the most is when I see this. I think Nynaeve again feeling really insecure. Just like how does she do it? How like yeah, you're right. Nobody's coming to me. Everybody try like how she came into town.
She's
She's wearing the
used to
best
it.
dress. Like yeah.
Yeah, if I feel like she's in Two Rivers, I feel like again, she's the one, but I feel like she was the one. She's the center of
Mm.
attention when it comes to political stuff, when it comes to village stuff, when it comes to a lot of stuff. They go to her in regards to that. And I feel like her being around Moraine lets her know like there's levels to this, and you didn't know there was another level that you haven't
There's
reached yet.
yeah above you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So that is interesting. As far as why they lied, I don't. I always thought, okay, this is just my thinking. I never thought about the idea that they might have been threatened, but I always was like, they don't want to accept, like they didn't believe in Trollocs before, and then they had to deal with at least a fade. We know there was at least one fade,
But
so now
everybody though,
it's just not wanting to accept it. But you're right, it is everybody. That is a little weird. It's a little weird.
It's almost like they
Yeah.
got Men in Black. You know that when Men
Yeah,
in Black, they
yeah.
put the shades on
Yeah.
and they put the little light by. It's like everybody got hit with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
What
so
oh,
now
this
go
is a
ahead.
completely irrelevant, like it's not that important, but I'm curious. What did you think about the bridge? I'm just realizing I didn't even ask you about that last time. They went on and on about the bridge in the city, the white bridge.
Um, Dang, I feel bad because I feel like it's important, and I feel like I just read that there's a bridge, and I just kept it pushing. So sorry if I just didn't put enough importance on something that was monumental there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they just think because when Nynaeve comes into town and when the boys come into town, they both just sort of stare at this amazing white bridge and they assume that it must be left over from the Age of Legends because it's way too big and way too pretty. It looks like it should crash. I don't know. I was just curious if that impacted you, but maybe you're like me in that visual descriptions don't hit you so hard because my brain just goes,
Yeah,
not important. Jump to the next thing. So, but okay.
no,
So then,
they do. No, no, visual descriptions do hit me sometimes, but I guess for whatever reason, because again, for those of y'all who are tuning in, y'all probably know by now, I'm listening to the audiobook. Um, so some stuff I don't know if that plays a difference. I don't know if that impacts what you have retention on or what you kind of prioritize or not. But yeah, that one I think that one kind of went
this
over
went
me a
over
little
you.
bit. It was just a part of the
Yeah,
listening. So
yeah. That sorry, no. I did
no
watch his
yawns.
reaction. Yeah, I watched your reaction too, where you put that this might be contagious on there for the yawn. Uh, but yeah, for me, I'm such an auditory learner that when
Hmm.
I visually read the books, I would skip over physical descriptions or visual descriptions, and then when I listen to the
Mm,
audiobook, I can't. So I actually pay like all the characters look different than I thought they did when I read the book because I
I got you.
my brain was just like, I don't care. Get to the dialogue. Like that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
get
with
what you mean.
yeah. Anyway, okay. Uh, so okay, then I will go on to the next chapter, which is chapter 29. It is called Eyes Without Pity, and the icon is the wolf again, which makes sense. And we have this chapter. Elias pushes Perrin and Egwene to travel fast but also stealthily. The wolves are scouting ahead and behind them, and at one hill they spot a mass of ravens flying from tree to tree. And Elias knows that they are, quote unquote, eyes of the Dark One, probably searching for them. They continue to make their way and see the ravens descend on a fox and peck it to death. The
Mm,
wolves spot ravens behind them and they start to race ahead to a safe place that Elias knows, with Egwene and Perrin taking down lone ravens with their slings along the way. Just as they think they can run no more, they arrive at something called a steading, where Perrin feels refreshed, but Egwene feels like she lost something and doesn't really like it. They see the ruins of an old statue, and Elias tells the story of Arthur Hawkwing, who's a king who united all the lands of the continent, but then because he hated the Aes Sedai, he tried to attack Tar Valon, and then he tried to build a city in the steading, and he wouldn't even accept Aes Sedai healing when he was dying, and his kingdom was destroyed after his death.
mm.
Oh, yes, and Todd's drawing for this chapter is this.
Poor fox, man. What the
Yeah.
fox say?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's poor Fox was just probably just get away from me. So, uh,
Man, poor fox,
mm.
man. Before we get onto this, I'm gonna stop recording and we'll
Oh yeah,
start
yeah.
again.
Okay. Starting. Okay.
Started back, man. Poor fox. This I guess tied into it makes me want to know. Like, I know Elias says he doesn't really know why he gets these senses and
Mm.
urgencies to when it's time to move, when it's time to go. I'm gonna need more than that, brother. I'm gonna need you to let me know more than that, especially
Yeah.
after I seen you like kind of shoo the guy in the village when he was about to talk something about this story. And
Yeah.
going back to that a little bit, there was some type of interaction between that guy's wife and Elias too,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was I didn't know if it made me strike me as like that used to be an ex-wife or something. And then it's safer for here in a village with this guy. You know he's a good guy, but so you really can't feel no type of way about this guy because you know
Mm.
whatever. It was a whole storyline I just made up in my head after
That's the
seeing them
fun part.
interact. Yeah,
That's the fun part.
the speculation,
Mm.
but his intuition about when it's time to move and when it's not time to move,
Mm.
it made me wonder because obviously as soon as it was time for them to get out, that's when the Ravens came, and
Yeah.
I guess This is another one of those instances where it would have been dope to see this play out in the show. Like I would have,
Yeah.
again, all my animal lovers out there, don't beat me up too much. I would have been interested to see how these ravens descended upon this fox.
Mhm.
From a visual standpoint, just to see if it was more of an evil thing or if it was one of those situations to where it just seemed like a nature type thing. And it also made
Yeah.
me wonder too, for those, if you know this, Jenny, too, um, do ravens do coordinated attacks, or is that something specifically that this book has put in? Because you know, there's some things in nature
Yeah,
that are kind
yeah.
of interesting.
I actually don't know. I know ravens are ridiculously smart. Like they're one of the smartest animals.
Mm.
Um, like I've seen, with them using tools and stuff like that and playing. They grieve their dead. They remember human faces. That might be crows, but they're
Yeah, that's
both really really smart.
okay.
So I don't know about coordinated attacks though. Uh,
Because have you seen this
yeah.
show called Zoo? It reminded me of there's a series called Zoo,
Mm.
where the animals kind of go haywire and start
Oh
attacking
yeah, yeah,
people and
yeah. I
doing
remember
things.
that
And
show. I remember that show.
so it seemed like a zoo moment
Mm.
when I was
Yeah,
reading through this one. But
yeah.
the steading, if I'm not mistaken, was the steading not one of the origin stories that was attached
Yes.
to the Will of Tom series? Okay, okay.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah, the one about the. Do you remember what it would like? What part
It
of
was
or what character?
brother Books,
Yes, his people.
stomping ground, wasn't it? That's brother
Yeah,
Books, you know.
yeah. The Steading are where Brother Book's people. They're called the Ogier are from. So yeah, this chapter
Well, in the
I
chat, they did let us know that a flock of crows is called a murder, so
mhm.
that doesn't
And if
sound good.
a flock of ravens is called an
Oh
unkindness of
my
ravens.
goodness.
Yeah, yeah. So um Oh, you were saying how you would have liked to see this. I would have bet money before the show came out that this scene would have been
Mhm.
in there because it is so like it feels epic. And I would have my only guess is that it was a budget thing again because I would have like this is such a tense scene. It would have really
Mhm.
played out well in the show. I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't there. So yeah.
I feel like even though this crow scene
Mm.
got skipped over, I could definitely see in them whether they double down or whether the storyline takes us back to the steading. I definitely can see the steading coming back up in the show for
Mm.
season 2 or season 3. I feel like the way that got described, and also what it does to Asadai, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure we'll be back here or to another steading or something like that,
Yeah.
based off the description of that.
Yeah, well, that one's like what it does to Aes Sedai. Did you catch like Egwene's reaction when they went into the studying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because it was funny because I'm always torn between that. Like, Egwene, are you gonna tell Elias what you're trying to become? Or are you gonna keep that
Mm,
under wraps?
yeah.
But because I knew why she was feeling the way she was feeling based on what Elias described about the scenery and
Yeah.
and where they were.
Yeah.
But it was yeah, it was funny seeing how she was ready to go and how she felt different. That was interesting.
Yeah. I always wondered if Elias picked up on that. Like if Elias heard her say, "I don't like it. I feel like I lost something," and then he went, "Oh,
Mm.
oh, I wonder. I wonder." So, yeah.
Another part of me thinks that Elias could be trying to play nice with her
Mm,
so that he could have some type of ally. Not even if it's intentional, but she could be his one saving grace or one pass when it comes to
getting
maybe
back in with
getting
the
by a
enemy.
situation with the Aes Sedai or whatever. Because
Mm,
if one person vouches for you, she may keep the others at bay from killing you, or vice versa. I feel like him having an Aes Sedai friend is going to come back and help him in some way potentially.
maybe. Yeah.
Speculation right there, or it could stab him in the back. You never know.
Yeah. That is true. I am seeing a rain dancer in the chat saying that the internet says that crows attack in groups. Now, does it say about ravens? Because raven and crows they're similar, but I don't think they're the same. But it does apparently attack the crows attack similar to how the book describes, which
I
is
know
awful. And I have a new
that's a
fear
fact.
unlocked.
That's a fact. And also, Rain
Yeah.
Dancer, if you don't mind, could you help put everyone's mind at ease and let us know if that is for other animals only and not human beings?
Yes,
Thank you,
please.
Rain Dancer.
Thank you. Appreciate that because this is not something I need to be thinking about ever.
That's
So
a fact.
yeah, this chapter I will okay, just shout out to my girl Egwene taking down a raven with her sling like she just had it at the ready. hitting
Oh
a
yeah, yes.
hitting a bird in flight with a little rock.
Game
Like
time shot.
seriously, that was good. That
Big
was great.
shot.
Hmm. So, any other thoughts on this chapter before we move on? Oh, sorry, Rapunzel. Geese will attack humans in flocks. I have been attacked by a goose. It sounds funny. It is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying.
Like when you say terrifying, meaning like you actually feel like your life was on the line, terrifying, or mean like
They
it's
are
like, oh, this is a scary experience.
it was I was afraid for my life because they're really really big, and when their mouths are open and they're close to you, you can kind of see teeth. I probably would have
Oh,
lived.
snap.
And, and my friends were inside the door waving me to come in because it was like on my way to school, and they were laughing like they were like on the floor laughing, trying to wave me in. And I was
I
like, I
feel like
know it
we're
probably
having a I feel like we're having a Jenny origin story.
yes.
This is where Duck Duck Goose came. Duck Duck Goose. Duck Duck.
Like, this is what
This
it
is
was
the origins of the Duck Duck Goose game.
exactly. I know it looked ridiculous. Like I'm sure I've seen videos of people being chased by geese online, and it
Yeah,
always
yeah,
looks insane. Like it looks dumb, but when it's happening, like it's just they're so loud. They're so loud.
yeah. It wasn't an
Anyway,
Affleck. It was Affleck
no,
Duck Duck Goose, was it?
no, it was a Canada goose too. They're the worst. I'm
Oh
Canadian.
man.
I love Canada. We are a peaceful people, except when you rile
Except
us
for
and
our
our
animals.
yeah, except when you rile us and our geese are the same. If you rile a goose, which I did by walking too close to its nest, it was my own fault. But anyway, anyway, this is a whole aside here.
So
Sorry, I have trauma related to geese. I totally do.
man.
Um, all right. Any other thoughts on this chapter before we go? I know people are bringing something up in the chat. I do want to talk about it, but I want to talk about it in the next chapter if that's possible.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Just making
Any?
sure, because the chapter 29, right?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, yeah, never mind, because I think what I was about to describe was coming up in this next chapter. So I guess we'll get to it now.
Okay. All right then. And so on this one, any further thoughts before we go on?
In this one, it was I'm anticipating, okay, when are we gonna get back to the course that
Mm,
the show had about them getting captured? Because now that they're not with this group anymore, being disbanded from the group, they
yeah.
got captured shortly thereafter. They actually got captured while they were with this group,
Yes. Yes.
potentially. So now I'm anticipating that about to happen. That was one of my feelings while listening to the book.
Okay, which is interesting. I never actually even noticed that until you just brought it up. But yeah, because they do like I mean that happens in the next chapter, and in the show they just sort of put them right together. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Before I go on, because I just remembered, is there anything in Arthur Hawkwing's story that uh, jumped out at you, like the king who hated Tarvalin and the witches and all that?
Yeah, going down to the fact that he didn't even take the treatment going into his deathbed. It reminded me of that, that quote people say now, no, stay on that side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If I hated you my whole life, no, stay on that side. Don't get my help now.
yeah,
But yeah, it would be interesting to see if, I don't know, maybe he had a nephew or something who got gentles at
mm,
at one time, and then he wasn't feeling
yeah,
that. But yeah, so that
yeah,
would be interesting. It also would be interesting to see, how do the Aes Sedai fight while in the steading if they can't use their abilities to their full
yeah. Well,
extent?
that's why he wanted to build the city there. He like
Hmm.
his hatred for the Aes Sedai seemed a little excessive and unreasonable.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No. And when I say how, it means like, because I know like Moraine's smart, so
Mm.
they just go off of intelligent combat if they were ever put in those type
In
of
that
situations
situation,
where
yeah,
they have
yeah,
to. But I guess
yeah,
we may or may never see. We'll see. Or
yeah.
I have to wait till Brother Tom comes back and sings us a song about it, right?
Maybe, maybe. All right. Okay. Then I guess let's move on to the final chapter for this week, which is chapter 30. It is called Children of Shadow, which I always found funny because they actually call themselves the Children of the Light. And
Mm.
the icon is the sunburst. This is the Children of the Light symbol. And this chapter summary: Elias and Perrin talk about Perrin's hatred for violence and what he was willing to do. This is what I wanted to say for this chapter. He almost throws away the axe, but Elias tells him to keep it
Yeah.
until he no longer hates it. The
Yeah.
wolves
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
send, yeah. The wolves send an urgent message that men are approaching and the men smell wrong somehow. There's no time to hide that they were there, so Elias tells them to hide and goes to join the wolves. Egwene and Perrin go to hide behind some of the statue ruins as White Cloaks enter the campground. Some White Cloaks spot Perrin and Egwene and order them out. As Perrin and Egwene approach the White Cloaks, a wolf bursts out of the darkness and rips out one of the White Cloaks' throats. The other White Cloaks kill the wolf, and Perrin feels the wolf die, and he kind of goes into a battle rage. We learn later that he killed 2 White Cloaks before he was knocked unconscious. He wakes up in a tent, and he and Egwene are tied up. The White Cloaks are assuming that they are dark friends, and everything Egwene and Perrin says only confirms it to them. The Lord Captain Commander tells them that they will be taken to Amador for trial, while the junior White Cloaks wants to kill them now. And the Todd's drawing for this one is them tied up here. So, okay. Thoughts on this?
Lots of thoughts on this. Where to start with chapter 30? I think my biggest process is like the children of light White Cloaks. They're like getting on my nerves a little bit. It's like, whose authority do y'all have to do some of the stuff that y'all doing?
Yeah.
Are y'all just free will going through the forest, harassing anybody who makes y'all feel uncomfortable or who doesn't abide by anything that y'all say? So that's a little bit annoying, even from the standpoint that they were studying somewhere in the forest. And then they pretty much like, come out, or you got a little minute to come out, we're gonna kill all of you. I was like, because of what, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can I not take a nap in the forest if I want to without being harassed by some White Cloaks? Is that okay with you? So they're a little bit annoying on that side of things. And then we see Elias spring into action to pretty much go join the wolf pack. And I think as he's leaving off, Perrin even describes him, it's like he got out on all fours or something like that.
Something like he looked like a wolf as he ran off or something.
Yeah, that was, and through the whole course of this reading, not even just this chapter, Perrin is starting to sense like there's certain mannerism and characteristics of him that are very wolf-like. And then this last interaction here with him kind of going off, it made me think again. This is like the 34th time I brought it. Like, does he transform fully into a wolf when he wants to? And can the rest of the pack do that, or is that something that only a few members of people can do? Perrin potentially being one of them. But yeah, so you did mention something we'll talk about in a minute that did. I don't think I caught that when I listened to it, but this was such an intense moment, and I was thinking about different things. I was thinking about some things that had already occurred while the book was still reading, but I wanted to go back to here. And one of those things, one of the most pivotal things, is when they got tied up, one of the wolves jumped out to throatify that brother. For lack of a better term. Did the wolf like tell him run, brother? Or was Perrin telling the wolf to run, brother?
Well, when the wolf comes out and Perrin yells no because he can feel what the wolf's about to do.
Yes.
And then the wolf kills someone. I think and then the wolf turns to him and like thinks run.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that confirmed that like you are in the pack now. If we lay down our lives to make sure that you're good, and goodness gracious, I think that wolf got something thrown through him or something like that. Goodness gracious, rest in peace. You gonna tell me the wolf name, or you gonna quiz me on that wolf name?
Wolf name is a bit on the quiz. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah. So that was a pretty deep one. So the thing that you mentioned that I didn't realize, as you said, he killed 2 White Cloaks in the process.
Yeah, Perrin killed 2 White Cloaks.
Okay, before he got blacked out. Now,
we don't learn that, and like we learn that in this chapter because the Lord Captain Commander says, "You killed 2 White Cloaks, you're gonna hang." Like, but Perrin doesn't really remember it.
So because of that, this is what I'll say. Because of that, their arrest makes more sense in this context than it did in the series.
Yeah.
Like we just stumbled across you guys. All right, you're coming with us because we think you're people who can manipulate the one power, whatever the case may be. Now, if y'all get into an interaction and you actually kill two of our people, them capturing you, take you back seems a lot more feasible of a thing than the latter. I'll say than
Yeah.
what I just mentioned prior to that. So
Yeah. I've commented on that a couple of times in my channel. I don't really understand why they were pulled away. I can sort of see it, like that sort of white cloak that we know in the show. His name is Valda. He saw them
he
before, and then he
likes
sees them.
help me.
Yes, that dude. Yes, he saw them before, and then figures because he sees them again, they must be important. So whatever. But in the books, their arrest does make a bit, well, quite a bit more sense.
Yeah,
Um,
with these brothers, man, it's like you don't want to see them more than once, or they're gonna have some spiritual epiphany that the reason they saw you twice is because they need to put you in jail, or they need to question you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
man,
yeah. It's just dumb. But okay, one of the things I did want to talk about in this chapter, I don't know if you did catch it, because I mentioned at the beginning, Elias and Perrin talk about a parent's hatred for violence and
yes.
what Perrin was willing to do. Did
Hmm.
you catch what Perrin was willing to do?
He's about to throw his axe. Correct.
Well, he was going to throw his axe after this. During their run away from the Ravens, Perrin keeps looking at Egwene and thinking, "I don't want her
Oh
to
yeah, yeah,
die
yeah, yeah, yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
horrible,
yeah, yeah,
horrible
yeah.
death." Yeah,
Yes. Sorry. This I almost pulled one of those U's, and I wrote this out of my mind because, like, parent, I like you. Don't think nothing like this again, brother. Before I had to write you off too. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? So, yes, great point. So, when this conversation, this was actually one of my more favorite dialogues. There was two portions of dialogue that I had that I really liked, and they
mm,
both involved parent. One was with the Tinker people, and they said, the quote about the violence does more harm to the person who inflicts it
yeah,
than to the person who receives it. That was like, dang, that's kind of deep from outside of the book perspective,
yeah,
like
yeah.
just assessing our own lives and things of that nature.
Mm,
And then also when Elias was talking to him about, like, well, because you want to put down the axe, you need to keep it in your hand.
yeah,
And when you don't want to put down the axe, that's when you need to take it out of your hand. That was another, like, dang, that's deep, to make sure
mm,
that you are not um doing things for the wrong reason, and knowing why you should do things, or why you have certain abilities to do things, and just doing that within moderation. So that
yeah,
was impactful. Now, the scene with, or the portion of the conversation when Perrin was had the axe and had this dumb thought, I almost was like, okay, hopefully I read or listened to that wrong. And it
mm,
was just like a quick, stupid thought, but he didn't really give it much justice. But the way Elias addressed it, it was like something that Perrin was actually thinking about.
yeah.
So I guess I'll let you go over it one more time. You're insinuating that Perrin was seriously thinking about ending Egwene's life because it was a better possibility than moving along the
Getting,
path that they were going.
yeah, yeah, because he was thinking that she would die by like getting ripped apart by the Ravens, and he thought, well, this will be a better death. So he was considering taking her life.
Okay, yeah, that I'm gonna have to get pause to that one, because that one, again, I know characters have certain battles that they have to get over with, but I understand if it was something that was geared towards him. When it
Yeah,
affects somebody else, it hits a little different. If you know what I
yeah,
mean, it's like,
yeah. This is
man,
one of
don't
those
make
things.
that decision on your own ever, please.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because I have to tell you, I had a revelation reading this time, because I normally just sort of skim over that, but I had the thought, I bet you this is going to jump out at Addison. Now apparently it didn't, but because I thought it was going to jump out at you, I started thinking about it, and I now have an understanding more of what they did on the show. Because in this
Oh, you talking
moment,
about
yeah,
that? You
well,
talking about going back to episode one, or what are you going to
yeah,
refer to?
episode one,
Mm.
and but it's a tie-in with this, because in this moment, Perrin considered killing Egwene. And I always hated this for that very reason that you just said. It's somebody else's life. You do not get to make a life, I was about to say life altering. It's a life ending
Mhm.
decision
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
another person. Especially Egwene. Like, she can channel. You don't know. At like the last second, she might have been able to pull a Nynaeve, and
That's a fact.
it's a it does it doesn't make sense. And what always bothered me in the book, it didn't bother me so much that Perrin thought of it, even though I don't think that
Mm-hmm.
it's the smart thing to think. I can, that thought goes through your head. I'm okay. Everybody has thoughts. What
Yes.
bothered me is that the book doesn't give another perspective. It doesn't say, no, like that's
Mm.
Egwene's life. Egwene gets to make her own decision. But
Yeah.
yeah, but in
So
this, okay, okay,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, what hit me this time is Perrin is dealing with at this moment the trauma of I came very close to killing a woman I love. Whether or not it's a woman that
Mm.
I like love romantically or my friend, I came very,
Mm-hmm.
very close to killing a woman I love. And in the show, he killed a woman he loved. But
Yes.
yeah, combine that with the trauma that he gets later on in this chapter of I killed somebody in a battle rage. In the
Mm.
episode 1, he kills a woman he loves in a battle rage. They
Mm.
took these two traumas and they put them together and made a giant Voltron trauma of his wife.
I like
It's
the connections, Jenny.
yeah. I
Goodness.
I only noticed that this time. Thank you. I just yeah.
No, that's man,
Mm,
that's good stuff.
yeah.
Going back to what you said though, it did weigh on me, but like because it was so bad and I liked him so much, I think I tuned that part like, no,
Mm,
you didn't do that. All right,
yeah.
yeah, a blip on the radar. We're back to regular.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your connections to that are super dope because, well, maybe what they did in the series was they got his wrongdoing out of the way first,
Mm,
so that he doesn't deal with it later,
maybe.
so
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
don't, because like if you already view someone as a good person and they do something stupid, it's like, dude, you know better than this. But if you
Mm.
do it already,
You get to
they're
see them
just on a
grow from.
redemption. Yes, they grow from it. So
Yeah.
maybe it was in light of that, maybe not, because if they double back down, never mind. It's a book, and Robert Jordan has, and Brian Sanderson already have certain things that he's going to do anyway. I was about to say,
Yeah.
man, if he doubles back down and does something else stupid, then it's like, all right, never mind. That's just
I
who
mean,
you are, I guess.
yeah.
And I'm saying this, and I'm only on book one, and I know there's several other books to go.
Several. There's a
So
few. There's a few. There's a few.
yeah, him
Yeah.
and Tom got a lot of stuff to get through, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But I like it. No. I see you pulling. I see you trying to dig in. So there. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. But I always assume that they just put like I see Kate in the chat. Like Perrin is so internal. You're seeing that like we're in his thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
He'll think like 8 paragraphs and then say 8 words. And so
Mm-hmm.
you can't like that's really really a hard character to adapt for a television show because he's
Makes
so
sense.
internal. So I in my mind when I saw what they did with him in the first episode, I didn't like it. Still not a fan of it, but I was like, I understand why they did it because they need like when he's off thinking by himself in the show, we need to understand what he's thinking about, and they gave him something like it. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to look at Perrin when he's looking
Yeah,
sad and being like, "Oh, I bet
that's
I
a
know what
fact.
you're sad about." But
Yeah,
no, realizing that it's literally just it's exactly from the books. Like it's, I mean, it's altered, but I can see it now. I can see the pieces that were put together that made that trauma. It's lifted from the book.
they say
So
it's the quiet ones you got to watch out for, man. And he
mm,
just had to make sure that was proved true with that
yes,
thought process
sorry,
is
I
right
see
there.
this. Addison, thirsty for a spoiler. Absolutely. Yes. Sneaky
Nah, I'm just
boy.
sip on there.
Brother Sips. Wait, you
Thirst
taking his
quench.
title? You taking his title?
Oh no,
Brother
bro, that's brother
Sips?
Sip's title. Brother can have that one.
Yeah.
um,
Okay. So anyway, those were my thoughts on that particular incident that I just had a revelation on that. So any
no,
other thoughts on this chapter? Yeah.
that's an interesting correlation. I actually really like that one.
Mm,
The woman and the thought process behind it. Yeah, I really like that one. Now this is a really dope reading. We got to see a lot of things in this for sure that we did not get to see in the show.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we like it would be dope almost to probably dang, we should have did it. Probably could go back. We should have built a list of things like, all right, we would like to see some fandom scene cuts of XYZ scene this, XYZ scene this. The
Yeah.
Crow and
Mm-hmm.
Wolves would definitely be some. I would like to see a like a 30-minute trailer, maybe of just those two scenes of those
Yeah.
from season one that we didn't get to see. But now this was a fun reading. I really enjoyed this one. I really do enjoy getting to see Perrin
Mm,
from a whole nother side, just not seeing him as the third wheel with the group, but
yeah.
actually as somebody who has thought processes that we actually can fully understand as opposed to just think we understand.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and you kind of just spoke to that as well. But no, this is great. These set of chapters is really good.
Yeah, this is tight. The White Cloaks are an alarming group of people. Not a fan. Just going to put that out there. I do not agree with the Children of the Light. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Okay. So I guess, are you ready for the quiz?
I'm ready to further our conversations.
Well, here you go. Here you go. There we go. All right, all right. So I have some questions here. Uh,
Mm.
Question number one. What
Mm-hmm.
is the captain of the boat? The boat is called the Spray. Do you remember the captain's name?
Pray. So he was on the spray and pray.
I mean, it does have an A sound in it. It does have an A sound in it. His name is
Ariel.
Bail Domon. So
Yeah, I saw that on the chat again. So I should get kudos for not cheating
not
and
cheating.
going scrolling back up to the chat where somebody had said that. But yeah, brother Bale, man, good dude,
Brother
man.
Bale. Brother Bale is beloved. Just I think I mean because he was a decent dude. Like he wouldn't go back for them, but he also gave them their money back, and he told really cool stories. And he do be talking like this, so everybody do be loving him. So
He reminds me of and maybe this is fresh in my mind. Have you seen
mm,
Treasure Planet?
no,
You haven't seen Treasure Planet? It's on Disney
no.
Plus. He reminds me of the pirate slash secondhand main character in that movie. That's who Bill.
Mm.
I mean, like he'll do some things that are bad, but
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
weird. It's a
It could.
correlation.
That is a good correlation. Yeah, because he's kind of a pirate. I mean, well, he's on a ship. I don't know if that makes him a pirate,
Mhm.
but okay. Um, all right. I know you know the answer to this, but I told you I wouldn't take it off. We learned three new names for the Dark One in these chapters. Two from the Aiel and one from the Wolves. Can you name any of them?
Are you talking about Leaf Blighter and Sightburner?
Yes, yes. The third one, because you got two. I said any of them.
Oh man,
But no,
what's the
no.
third one though?
Yeah, those two were from the Aiel. The third one we learned from the Wolves. The Wolves' name for the Dark One is Heart Fang, which is
It's
pretty
like a
tight.
wolf type thing to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wolf
Heart
names for things.
Fang.
I love the wolf names for things. They're amazing. They're amazing. But speaking of wolves, we learned the names of four wolves. Can you name two of them?
Burn.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Dang, what is the leader's name? The woman that they said that the other wolves was. Oh my goodness. Elias. Should that not count?
Oh
Should that
my!
not count?
That does
Should that
sound like
not
a
count?
technicality. That does sound like a technicality. Okay,
Perrin,
all
should
right,
that not count? Come
all
on,
right,
chat. Come on, get me up there.
I
Oh,
like it. I
now
like
this
it. All
mic is
right.
too expensive to drop. Let me not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't be dropping that. Okay, the one that died from like the one that ripped out like the dethroning, I think you called it, was Hopper,
Mhm.
and the leader is
Hopper.
Dapple, and then
Mhm.
Wind. So it's Burn, Dapple, Wind, Hopper. And
Wind.
oh, I did
Yep,
want,
yep, yep.
yeah, I did
You
want to
know,
say you made me realize something that I didn't think about before. Uh,
you know what's
it
funny? I
all.
have all four names written down right here in my notes. I would screen share to show you so you can believe me, but I have all four of them written down for chapter 22 notes.
Mm,
Hey,
you gotta pull that
mm,
out
mm,
in
mm.
time, man. um, but you made me realize something because it always bothered me that Elias just leaves them, like he
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
leaves them, and you made me realize that. Oh, because when you said you trust him to do what's best for the wolves, not what's best for the kids, and I was like, oh yeah, no, he's putting the wolves first. That always
That's a
bothered me.
fact.
He just left these kids. Why?
So
Okay.
since the Dark One's nickname in wolf language is Heartfang,
Mm.
I feel like if Matt had a wolf name, it would be Short Tail. What y'all think? What you think? I feel like his name would be short to him. That should be his wolf name.
I think that would work. Yes, that works. Oh my gosh, short tail works very well. All right, the final question before we get to the spelling. Uh,
Mhm.
what are the Aes Sedai who serve the Dark One called? Elias tells us this. He says Aes Sedai who when he says like, he called them this to their face. They're Aes Sedai who serve the side of the dark.
Mm. Mm. I mean, I'm looking into spaces if the name is gonna come to me, and it's not.
All right. I'll just let you know. It's
It's,
Black Aja. He looks
oh,
so sad.
yeah, because it's like the most simple. Because they got blue Aja, red Aja. Why
Yep.
didn't I know in the show we used to call him the doo doo brown, the doo doo Aja? The doo doo
No,
Aja.
that's my Aja. You can't be calling nobody doo doo. That's my Aja. That's the Aja I I'm doo doo
Doo doo
Aja.
Aja.
No.
Black Aja. Goodness gracious. Why I just didn't say the color and keep it simple?
Yeah.
See, oh man.
Yeah. Black Aja,
Black
what they
Aja,
call.
okay. A
All right.
fitting name.
Yes. Okay. And then I'm just gonna give you one word to spell here. That would be Elias's name.
Just Elias?
Yeah. Spell me Elias.
Oh my goodness. If he doesn't, if his name is not spelled how I have in my notes right above burn, hopper, dapple, and wind. You see how quick I threw that
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Fame's colon burn, hopper, dapple, and wind. Um the way I have Elias spelled in my notes is Elias,
Yeah, it's how
but I
everybody
know
with
it's
is yeah.
not that. I
Mm.
know it's something dumb like. Yeah, anyway, I'm ready for it. Just put
Can,
it on me. Put
can
the
you
RJ spelling on me.
can you try and make it dumb? Can you see? Because I want to see if you're trying to make it. Think about RJ spelling. See if you can do it.
If I had to make it dumb, Elias. If I put
Oh,
Elyes.
the Y was all you needed. The Y, Elyas, Elias. Oh, you
Oh,
were right about adding that Y though. Sometimes he doesn't throw in too many other letters. He just is like, this is the. You know what I should have done a long while ago? Tom. Do you know how to spell Tom? How he spells Tom? Just
THOM.
yeah, he just throws an H in there. Just like
Yeah, no,
why?
that's
Yeah.
listen. I respect the story, but um, Brother Robert Jordan, I don't want to upset the Willertown community, but I would like to talk to you behind. Well, it would have been nice to talk to you behind closed doors about why you spell things the way you did. Maybe we could have came out from those doors with a better understanding for each other.
Yeah. Which because audiobooks are so popular these days, and because the Wheel of Time audiobooks are so good. Like the
Mhm.
one we're listening to right now, the Rosamund Pike one is
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The previous one also fantastic. So a lot of people read them, and you can always tell even somebody who has come from just listening to the audiobook joins the fandom because like there's the rest of us trying to decipher what they typed and like who is this character? Oh, because
That's funny. That is
everybody
hilarious.
spells it differently.
We're talking about two different characters right now, aren't we?
Yes. No,
Let me find out that the blue R's and red R's are spelled different. If red and blue spelled different, then I might have to close these books. If black, red, and blue are spelled different by Robert Jordan, I might have to go on and bow out. I can't be that
luckily,
tainted now.
luckily they are not. All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, that's all I had for this. Do you have any further thoughts? And tell me your
No,
crazy dream. Anything else?
oh yeah, we got to get back to the crazy dream. So, it's not something too crazy, just interesting
Mm.
facts. So, when I was younger, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Oh, I gotta think of a crazy dream. So you go
Oh
first.
dang. No, I just remember a repeated dream that I used to have when I was younger.
Mm.
is I remember I was so like infatuated with like what it would be like to fly. You know, you watch Superman movies or Marvel movies
Yeah,
and things
yeah.
of that nature. And it's like, man, that having that freedom to fly and all that. So I would start to have these series of dreams that always feel real. So it'd be like late at night, and then I would just start like floating out of my bed, then slowly going out of the window, and I would be flying. But the problem was I couldn't come down. So then it'd be like
Oh,
a Google Maps thing to where it was like it was a terrifying dream. I kid you not. It's like it's fun. It's like, oh, cool, I'm flying, and then I realize I have no control over my flight, and then suddenly my house gets to like a drone view, and then a Google Maps view, and then a
oh
world view,
my
and the
God.
planet view. So it was kind of terrifying because I couldn't like,
Mm.
I'm just going up and away and not going down. So I remember that used to be a repeated dream I had, and
Yeah.
then after that, I realized I was cool just being ground bound.
Yeah. Brown
So
bag. I like it.
my hopes of being on Smallville ended, shortly
Yes.
after that.
Yeah. Okay.
What you
Repeated
got?
dreams that I remember from when I was young. It's the it would be I would be talking to people. Like I remember this from when I was real little. I'd be talking to people
Mhm.
and then a hole would open up underneath them and they would get sucked down into the ground. And it was a nightmare
Ooh.
that I had over and over again. I would wake up and I would be afraid to get out of my bed and my mom would have to come and pick me up because I
Would it be
was,
like would it be like bad people, or would it just be like
no, it
somebody
was
you
just
didn't
like
want to talk to?
everybody. No, like in my dream, it was
Interesting.
everybody. Like I would be, out playing with my dad, and my dad would get sucked down into the ground, and then I'd be talking. Like it was just, and it was,
Like
it
a
wasn't like
sink,
they were
like a
getting.
sinkhole type thing, or like a
It was like I think what it was because I was a little girl, so it was like a perfect black circle, and then they would just
uh
sort of fall down into the perfect black. It wasn't like they fell into hell;
no,
they would
that's
just
that's
disappear
terrifying.
from existence. And it was, yeah,
That is terrifying.
it was
Interesting.
terrifying. Yeah,
But
yeah.
as we come to close, I know you have some other things. Don't forget again to let us know what's AI art or what scene from today's discussion that y'all would like to see turn into AI art, and we'll get that added to this episode. So
Mm. Yeah. Well, yeah, and thank you so much for joining us. And next week, I think we only have 5 chapters next week. I going back in our chat, but I'll send it to you just to be sure because it's not as many. Yeah,
now,
just
if
not
it's
as many.
5 chapters but the same duration as 10 chapters, then that's kind of cheating.
I actually
just
don't
just
know.
a FYI.
I actually don't know. I don't know. But thank you all for
Oh,
joining.
thanks.
Thank you all for joining
No,
us.
I got
And
a quiz for you. I got a quiz
oh,
for
oh,
you
oh,
before I
oh,
got a
okay,
quiz for
okay.
you before we get out of here real quick,
All
Jim.
right, all right, all right.
Who did the artwork for some of the chapter symbols that you've been showing me?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I fail. You're writing this down.
I will
Take-
take my Kermit sip right now. And we will get back to you guys on the answers to that on the next episode of.
oh, I love how you threw that in my face. Nice. Oh, all right. All right.
All right.
Well, okay. Anything else you want to hit me with? Or shall I end it?
Oh, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. All right. Check y'all later.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.